Marines report in.
Red 10 standing by.
Red 7 standing by.
Red 3 standing by.
Red 6 standing by.
Red 9 standing by.
Red 2 standing by.
Red 11 standing by.
Red 5 standing by.
Oh, okay. Well, remember when I told you Mike Sartain always hits me up when our show starts?
Oh, no, he did?
Yeah. Hey, welcome, Tribalism Mail. Today, podcast is in session. You're correct. Hey, E. Jones. Welcome. I have with me Tristan Darshan. Darshan, I'm saying that right, correct?
Darshan, yeah.
Darshan. Okay, cool. We're going to talk about the 3 types of guys today. But of course, at first...
This is such a great picture.
Yeah.
I can make, only one picture in that picture.
Do looks matter if you're a man? Females have a dual mating strategy, short-term mating and long-term mating. They want both. For females, in short-term mating, women often prioritize looks and immediate sexual chemistry. But here's the catch. How often do you think girls have one-night stands with a guy? Women have significant objections, concerns for their safety, social reputation, emotional impact, and getting pregnant too, and a lot more for one-night stands. Only 54% of women report positive feelings about the interaction, but 80% of men report positive emotions after a one-night stand. Women
That's still well above average.
often report feeling used, degraded, and also massive regret after a one-night stand. However, for anything other than a one-night stand, looks take a massive backseat. Women will always prioritize status over looks, which is great for you if you're not shredded, 6'2", and have a chiseled jawline. I know what you're thinking. Corey, how do I showcase this magical perception of status? The answer is your Instagram. Your Instagram profile is the one and only perfect tool to demonstrate and highlight all of your status, your social proof, your resourcefulness, your implied pre-selection, exclusivity, and a lot more to show off your perceived high status. So stop obsessing over your looks in the mirror with your newest skincare routine. Focus on showcasing your high status lifestyle on your Instagram page to attract your dream girl. Do you want me to
Most attractive car a man can drive?
Audi R8. I personally am not like a big fan of car guys, so if he has a nice car, it kind of makes me less attracted to him. I would say like an old like pickup truck or something, like I don't know, just something more like where he spends his money on things that aren't superficial like that, or like material things.
Right, so like a Ford pickup truck, but he spends time on flowers or on himself.
Yeah,
What is the most attractive car a man can drive?
I don't know, like a Porsche. Yeah, that's attractive.
And then what is the biggest turnoff in a man?
Definitely too like cocky or like too confident. Yeah, too cocky. Like, ego. That's a huge turn. You gotta have some confidence, but too much ego is like. Yeah.
Good question. I think trucks, but cars?
A Challenger.
A Challenger.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, I wasn't expecting that. What about like a Lamborghini? No?
Yeah,
but that's like
too much. It could be too much though.
Yeah.
Fair
But
enough.
it'll be cool to ride on one for like a weekend.
Yeah.
What's your favorite car?
So I'm weird. I don't really have a favorite anything, but if I were to pick one of my most favorite cars, it would probably be...
If I wanted to take you on a first date, what's the most I should spend on it?
It's never mine. I can go to McDonald's. Like,
I can go for a walk. You can spend $0.
Right.
It's about, again, respect, communication, the way how you treat me, and just if you are nice and put actually an effort to invite me somewhere, not me invite you.
So if we had chemistry and I said, hey, let's just hang out and go to the park together, you're fine with that?
Yes, 100%.
But why not a $400 first date at Nobu or Gecko?
Because it doesn't matter. For me, it doesn't matter. I don't want to see your money. Like,
Yeah.
I want to see you. If you will talk with me, like with respect, and you're interesting, like about me, myself, like, you know, then that's fine. I don't need your money. I am not like that. Like, I'm cool with just walking with that person. I'm just sitting somewhere and just talk. I prefer to talk.
So it's about, I will add, rich heart, no rich wallet.
Not giving them
Welcome to
sex.
Poland.
Like, no, it doesn't work like that. You can't have everything and then be lazy in the bedroom.
Wait, so just quickly, you mentioned like husbands, because that's sort of something you do. You always say like, I'm sleeping with husbands. And
Wait, I gotta set this one up. The chick this chick right here, her name is was it Annie Knight? I think she is like one of the most infamous skanks in the planet Earth right now. Her claim to fame is like, I think on spring break or like in summer vacation or some shit like that, she like nailed like 300 guys. She was on a quest to get like 300
in 1 week.
And no, in like maybe a week. I don't know exactly what it was, but like the summer break or something like that. She has this huge following on OnlyFans and Twitter, and she's got this podcast. The girl that's with her is like her partner, who also goes and does exactly the same thing. That's their claim to fame.
stuff like that. So just for the listeners who don't know, what are some of the media articles that are out at the moment?
Long story short, I'm blaming, I guess, wives for men cheating.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Before, I would have
keep
said,
nagging, right?
Yeah, I would have been like 100%. It's the guy's fault. But then when I used to escort, loads of the clients would be like, "Oh, my wife's not touched me in years. Like, we don't have that like connection anymore. Like, they won't have sex with me. They won't give me a blowjob." And like, I think as a relationship, you can't be expecting your husband to not be going elsewhere if you're not giving that service at all. But you still want the house to be cleaned. You still want him bringing in the money, and you still want that side of things. But you're not giving them sex. Like, no, it doesn't work like that. You can't have everything and then be lazy in the bedroom.
Yeah.
So the more I got to know my old escort clients, I was like, no, I don't actually blame the husbands whatsoever for going elsewhere. Like, I blame the wives for being lazy.
Yeah. I guess men have needs. So if they're not getting met, then they're going to look elsewhere.
Like, I guarantee you, if that house hasn't been cleaned, the wife will be nagging and moaning about it. But if the husband was to nag and moan about not having sex, that would be a big issue.
100%. Yeah.
So instead, they're going elsewhere, which is why I've started offering it for free.
After a survey, men say they care more about physical attractiveness than women, and women say they care more about money than men when selecting a mate. But a recent, sophisticated registered report of over 10,000 individuals from around the world compared what traits people say they want to what traits actually predict romantic evaluations. And first, they found that men understated how much they cared about earning potential, and women overstated it. In other words, for women listening, men care more about your career in practice than in theory. And for fellas, women generally care less about your earning potential than they let on. On the other end, they found that all people, but especially women, understated the importance of physical attractiveness. So looks matter more than people say, especially more than women say. On paper, sure, classic finding, women care more about money, men care more about looks, but in actual romantic evaluations, men and women care about the same about both. And they both care more about looks than money. And for what it's worth, this result is very consistent with a large-scale meta-analysis on the same topic from 10 years ago. Now, to be clear, this doesn't mean that anyone's lying on paper, right? We don't have perfect insight into what drives our romantic feelings. Men might genuinely think they care less about a woman's career than they do, and women might genuinely believe that looks don't affect their romantic evaluations of men as much as they do. It's just that, on average, they're wrong.
All right, I got to do this. That's okay. I'll bring this up real quick because I'm going to put this. I'm going to use this last one here in just a second. All right, gentlemen, welcome to the Rational Male. I have with me Tristan Darshan. See, I got it right finally. Yeah. How you doing, man?
Doing good, man.
Tell my listeners or my viewers what it is that you do.
Yeah, I mean, do a lot, man. I'm occasionally the co-host of Access Vegas. I help run Men of Action.
Our one time together.
Yeah, our one time together. I frequently sub in, help run Men of Action, and we're starting a project together called Reignite. So I'm really excited to see how we can actually take a lot of the concepts that we've seen the rational male and start applying it into the real world and making guys' lives better.
For sure. Now, I've brought this up before, so just so you guys know, I'm having Tristan on here because he's an interesting individual. I like having conversations with you. It's our back and forth. But for today, since we're starting out here real quick, I wanted to make sure that we emphasize the fact that we're doing Reignite now. Now, this is sort of like my, I don't call it a flagship thing, but I guess it's the first time I've ever done anything even remotely like this. Now, I've been sort of building this up since like April of this year.
Yeah.
And essentially what myself and my partner, my business partner, Joe Marin, and I were talking about is that we saw this need for sort of, I don't want to say outreach, but I guess maybe there's nothing really describes it as well, but like sort of an outreach for guys who are between the ages of 45 and 65 years old who find themselves in the red pill. Now, I'm personally kind of invested in this, not because I am 56, but I've worked with individuals such as Robert Kiyosaki, who is in his late 70s now. So that sort of formed a real interesting bond between myself and Robert. He was just in here about 2 weeks ago and did an interview with him, which I thought was fantastic. Thank you, producer Kyle, for all of that and your hard work. So I thought, you know what, maybe it's time to pull a trigger on this. I definitely see a lot of guys that are part of Men of Action. You know, when Mike asks me to come in occasionally on the immersives and just sort of sit there and just take, do Q&As and stuff. It's just sort of an added bonus. I was not partnered with you guys until recently.
Yeah.
But I was seeing this going on like live in real time, and I'm going, you know what, a lot of these guys, I mean, they enjoy being out here, but there's what would you say, as far as MOA is concerned, what would you say is the age demographic? Like, what do you think the average age of the guys?
The average age, I would say the average age is about like 35 to 40. That's the average
35
age,
to 40.
Yeah.
But because I go in there and I see guys in there who look to me as if they're like in their mid to late 20s, and then I see guys as old as like in their 50s too.
Yeah. So when you do like the immersions or like any of the events, like for example, like the one we have coming up on Thursday, like you're gonna definitely see that range. Which is why I think Reignite is gonna be so great, because I think a lot of guys who are in that age range of like what you're targeting, right? Like that 45 to 65,
right?
Usually got out of a divorce, was out of the field for a while. I think that's the biggest thing, more than the age, is the fact that they were out of the field for a long time.
And they're trying to reintegrate themselves back.
Yeah, especially now with social media, they're trying to understand the dating game. They don't
understand anything.
That is a big thing. So that is really, what we're trying to focus on now with Reignite.
Yeah. So myself, Joe Marin, and you guys are now we're partnered with MOA, and we kind of saw a need, and we want to address the need.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm particularly focusing on the 45 to 65 demographic is because that's the prime demographic for self-deletion.
Yep.
For men, and then of course men are already during that particular time in their lives, that phase of life. Men are already 3.5 to 4 times more likely to take their lives than women are. Although people would like to sort of balance that out in some morbid way and saying like, well, women attempt it more, but men are more successful. Bravo. Thanks.
Right.
Thanks, feminism. But men are 8 times as more likely to take their own lives after a divorce. And they go through a process of what I call being zeroed out. And I've been talking about this since my 3rd book. And what guys can do about it, because probably I think one of the most common questions I get, or like I guess requests I get for counseling from gentlemen in this age, is they just don't know how to get back into the field. They just don't. They want to. They're really looking for permission from me. Like I've got guys right now who are already part of the program, and they're like, what are my chances, Rolo? Tell me what my chances are that I'm going to be able to like get laid again, because I was in a sexless marriage for the last 12 15 years of my 20-25 year marriage, right? And they're probably going through a very nasty divorce. And this is unless they have a lot going for them, this is when they have to face a question, and that is, do I rebuild myself or do I delete myself? And I want to insert myself between those two questions and say, no, rebuild yourself.
For sure.
Because there's way more opportunity. And it's like, I keep telling guys this, is like when people have really struggle with like sort of letting go of this sort of blue pill concept, when they really like sort of chomp at the bit when it comes to like red pill awareness, or it comes to just hard truths that we see daily. Like one of the things we're going to talk about today is the 3 types of guys, right?
Yeah.
And I'm actually just going to let this young lady sort of like riff on this here in a minute, but just even being aware of like the 80-20, 4.5% rule. And then once you sort of get that broken down for you, that's that's like a cold bucket of truth poured all over you. And so a lot of guys, like, they either resist that or else they get really despondent about it.
Well, and they get that red pill rage, right?
Yeah, there's the anger phase of the 5 stages of unplugging. Anger is like number 2 or 3, I believe, in that. It's basically analogous to like the 5 stages of grief, right? Which of course you would know about because you're studying psychology, correct? Are you getting your doctorate? That's what it is.
No, bachelor's
degree. Okay.
Yeah. You know,
are you gonna go on to get your doctorate?
Fuck no, dude. I mean, we were talking about it before we started the show. There's no money in research, man. You can't. You need to like start a YouTube channel. You need to be an influencer, do something like that. I don't know. I'm bored with school as it is. I don't know if I could do 10 more years of it.
Oh, geez.
But I really like that what you said about like when they're taken out of the game. Obviously, I don't have experience. That's why we're deferring this program to you, Michael, Joe, because you guys have experience, you know, being in that older demographic. But the thing is that, at least from my perspective, with Men of Action and like with the guys that we work with, there's a lot of guys, and something like Michael and I talk about a lot is when you're a guy in that demographic, 45 to 65, you either really get it or you really don't get it.
Yeah.
Right. I've really noticed that. Like you're either like James Kilgore, right?
James Kilgore gets it.
Yeah, gets it.
He
really good shape.
Right from the rip, too. Yeah.
Really good shape, testosterone, super jacked, dresses super well, has an awesome Instagram, doesn't act his age at all. But then, you know, because I don't do so many calls with these guys, and I get to see them and I get to interact with them.
Sure.
There's a lot of guys who are out of shape. They don't dress well. They don't carry themselves. They are kind of like the weird old guy in the club, right? And if you can really learn the skills, and one, I think a big thing that contributes to the suicide, self-deletion, is the lack of community, right? Like
no tribes.
Because when guys get divorced, they don't just lose like their wife. Oftentimes they lose like the tribe they had around them because that was a product of their marriage.
Sure.
So guys being able to, one, get it and just reacclimate to the new game, but also having that group of men to grow with is, you know, priceless.
Yeah. That's actually something that features really heavily in the book I'm writing about all this right now, which is sort of tribalism. And I think tribalism has gotten there's a negative connotation to that word, and I think probably that is a lot of that negative connotation is due to the idea that it is somehow intrinsically like masculine or it's toxic, you know? And again, it's by making it so it separates us, it divides guys. And so I think that's one of the things I really believe anyways is, and this is me personally, is that a lot of the sort of the hate that comes along with, organizations such as like Men of Action or us maybe trying to put together something where we're actually doing something, and people say, well, what do you guys actually do? You guys are just influencers and all you do is you're just a podcaster. What do you like? Who cares about you? Right. Like, no, I'm actually doing a project here. I'm actually trying to do outreach here. I'm actually in the transit, which means I might have to take time away from doing shit like this. I might have to, you know, sacrifice certain things, and I'm willing to do that because I think that there's a need there. Is it going to be profitable? I'm sure. I hope so. But the thing is that's not, profit wasn't my motive when I started this. I wanted to go out there and I wanted to help these guys, right? Do we have to have money to go and do cool shit and go, you know, go drive fast cars or go do whatever else, you know, whatever activities we're going to do sort of as a tribe? Yes, of course we do. But the thing is that it's the impetus and the mission statement behind it is to stop guys from like having to, once they go get zeroed out, is to give them an alternative to get it to self-deletion. And so when I go out there and people want to say, you know, well, what are you actually doing? Well, this is what I'm actually doing. I felt like it was probably time. I mean, I'm 56 years old, right? So I think it's probably about time that I actually, you know, put my money where my mouth is. And so I'm working with, I'm hoping to get guys like Thor Markinson or Red Pill Thor to help us with like some of the fitness side of things, where we're basing it, of course, on health, wealth, and relationships. And by relationships, I mean not just like game and social skills, which of course feature heavily, but also interacting with other guys and forming tribes, as we were saying before, having that network of guys who are there to either, you know, help you out with like business, or to help you out with health, or to help you out with games. So it's like this self-perpetuating, self-fulfilling, sort of organization, or at least that's what I would hope it would. But my hope for it is that's how it ends up. So we are basing things on like real world shit. So we're not trying to do something where it's just like we're all just going to sit in a room and just going to listen to some guy blab for 4 or 5 hours. We're actually going out and doing stuff. We're actually if style is a problem for you, somebody's going to help you out with that. If fitness is a problem for you, well, guess what? We got Drew Bay is on tap. I've got hell, I can go. You know who's 50 years old? Hide Yamagishi, the owner of Powerhouse Gym out here in Las Vegas too. So
yeah.
So there's if we don't know somebody that can help, we know somebody that's not directly related to the group. We certainly can go out and find somebody.
So talk about like the inspiration behind what we're doing, because it's coming up very shortly.
Sure. Well, that's one of the activities. So we have if you haven't already gotten this either in my Twitter or my Instagram or through my mailing list right now, we're doing another event. This week is I guess it's tomorrow. Is Swim Week in Las Vegas. So we kind of planned this around Swim Week, and we're kind of doing it sort of by the seat of our pants here. This is another sort of proof of concept event for us. But on was it Wednesday, or are we going to do it on Thursday?
It'll be 14th to 16th.
The 14th through the 16th. So on Wednesday, August 14th, we'll be doing a meetup right here in Las Vegas. Actually, if we can, might even be here in this building. And so we're doing a meetup. I'm kind of hesitant to call it a mastermind, but I guess if we had to call it something, that might be it. Where we're just getting together, doing like Q&As and AMAs and stuff like that, and basically focusing on what you think, like for men in that demographic, 45 to 65, what you think your primary sort of issues are. And so we're here to help you with that. Also, it's not just like young guys going out to the clubs and going out to Sapphire, going out to Zook or something like that. We want to be actually doing stuff that like, so that people like, not only that they're like older guys are comfortable with, because, sometimes like I like going to Zook as much as anybody else, but my music is going to be found at Vamped. So, it's going to be I'm going to go see All That Remains and Megadeth on Friday. That's where I'm going to go. And if you guys want to come along, then I'm happy to bring you along with that too. But we have Babes in Toyland, which is we're kind of centering it on Babes in Toyland. We have a table at Babes in Toyland like we did in the last one, which was in Los Angeles. We're doing it again now in Vegas. And so we're just basically trying to say, hey, if you guys, I realize it's last minute. I realize, this is only, it's only going to happen once, especially in this summer. And so, apologies for making it the last minute, but if you guys happen to be in Vegas or had plans to come here anyways, this is a excellent week to come out here because we have Black Tape Project. We have, only in heels or only heels. Is that
nothing but
heels. Not that you're going to get into that, but still the girls are here for that one. And then we have, what's the Swimsuit USA? Is that the,
this week, so it's going to be Black Tape Project. Most of you won't get into that. They have a Black Tape show at Peppermint Hippo on Friday. We're going to have Babes in Toyland on Thursday,
which is a charity event. I should
and look, all the hottest girls are going to be here because it is
this
Swim
is
week.
the week.
This is the week to be here. And also, I think a really key thing with this, I'm going to call it a mastermind because that's ultimately what it is. We really want this mastermind to be something, when we were discussing off camera, we want this to be something that's obviously, yes, it's going to be a great 3 days, but this 3 days is going to seed, relationships and growth for the foreseeable future. So, really, we want to keep this really small. So it's going to be 10 spots. We're only going to really do this once.
Yeah, we're limiting it. So
very much limiting it. I know a lot of other, seminars will have 200 or 300 people. Now we really want to work with everyone. We want to give you guys as much one-on-one time with Rollo, with Rollo's network, give you time at the event. But we're not just, sitting there on our ass. We're going to do some Q&A. We're going to go over the new concepts. We're going to go over Reignite, but also we're going to go to Babes in Toyland. We're going to have an awesome time. It's an awesome charity event.
Right.
And the point is, though, not to have a lot of guys there, but it's to have a small select guys that we can work with those couple days.
We're forming the tribe, a week-long tribe. Yes.
Yeah, the Reignite tribe.
Yes,
that's what we're here
exactly. Yeah. And so so we'll be going to Babes in Toyland. Again, we'll be on Friday. We'll be just kind of doing a really brief like after action report kind of thing in the morning right there. And then just see how it goes. The great thing about doing this is we're still in kind of like the learning phase of this too. This is the fun part.
Yeah.
I was talking to Joe about this. I go, this is the fun part because we're going to discover stuff that we didn't even know that these guys needed that we can actually help them out with. And that's to me, I don't know, I find that the most enjoyable part of doing this stuff.
And I think this is the opportunity, since this is the fun part, like you said, this is the time where they'll get the most access to you.
Yeah, exactly. And then I've never done anything like this before. Like this, like people always say, well, Rollo has all these courses and he has like, oh, dude, this is the first time I've ever done anything like this.
Yeah.
So and then by the way, if you want to have a book signed or something like that, I'm more than happy to
yeah, I mean, I could go, I'll also go over like kind of the rough itinerary of what it's going to be.
Yeah, go ahead.
So event highlights. So obviously we're gonna have the keynote address by you. So Rollo's gonna have a keynote address. He's gonna share his latest views, questions, the mission of Reignite, and really the mission of what we're trying to help you guys accomplish. We're gonna have interactive Q&A session. Prepare any question. I'm sure you guys have had many questions that you've always wanted to ask Rollo. You won't have to super chat it and here's the StreamYard. You can ask him right in person. You'll have access to your network as well. So this is not a 3-day event where we're just talking, sitting in a conference room. It's like, no, we're going out into the world. You're getting access to a network. We're going to the right places. We're interacting with we're practicing what we preach.
Let me just insert this in here real quickly. That's by design too. Of
course.
Part of and people know this. I've written about this often enough. It's like when guys communicate, they're doing something. Like women talk, men do. And so the best conversations I've ever had with like my brother or my dad back when he was still alive, or like my good friends, like I have sort of little sub tribes, little mini tribes. Like guys in my band are a tribe, right? Guys who I like, you guys, MOA is another tribe that I have, right? So I think a lot of guys already have tribes and they don't realize that they do. But it's my opinion, anyways. Once again, that and I mean Mike and I have talked about this before, is that guys, when they communicate, it's over a shared project. They're united in a shared project or problem that they're solving together. And as a result of focusing on, like, say, fixing a ar, like my brother does, he restores classic muscle cars. And some of the best conversations I've ever had with my brother have been just like right over an open hood, while we're working on something, right? And so
we're doing a podcast together, or when we're playing guitar together.
Exactly. Yeah, you share a common interest, right? And so that's what I was hoping we're planning like activities and stuff to do. Like in this case, we're going to Babes in Toyland just because this is swim week. But if we plan an event where we're going to go, like, say, deep sea fishing, or if you like to play golf, or if you want to go to the shooting range, or if you want to drive really super fast cars out here, which is what I want to do, or drive a tank, in Las Vegas. It's not just going to be Vegas stuff too. We're going to end up going to different locations. Obviously, we can't do deep sea fishing here in Vegas. So if we happen to be in Miami and we're doing an event in Miami, we'll probably be doing a Reignite event near you at some point. This is just this month's offering. So.
Awesome. But it's going to be, and that's actually the benefit of being the first one, because this is the one we're going to get to give you the most value, get you the most interaction. As events like this grow over time, it's going to be like,
get in early because we don't know any better yet.
Exactly. And the other thing is that other thing you're going to get, you'll get a signed copy of The Rational Male. That's going to be included. And ticket to Babes in Toyland. Just for you guys watching, who aren't necessarily watching Michael's stuff, Babes in Toyland, like, think of like the benefits of a nightclub, but without having to go to a nightclub. Right. So instead of like going to a place where it's just like girls are chasing clout, they're chasing the G's, they're doing this. Think of like the most beautiful girls in Vegas, but not just in Vegas, all over the country, because they're here for Fashion Week. They're going to a red carpet event, but the premise is that it's a charity event. So you're supporting a really good cause.
Is it Animal Rescue again this time?
It is Animal. Okay. I believe it's Animal Rescue this time.
Which is something
Animal
close
Rescue.
to my, I rescue greyhounds.
Yeah, I do. It's a close cause to our hearts as well. So just an awesome charity event, bunch of beautiful girls there. I mean, you've been to so many of these. How many hot girls go to this event?
Only hot girls go to this event.
But how many of them go alone?
Almost 90%.
90% go alone. Yeah. So it's just a great place for us to interact, a great place for the brother to get together. Usually have a lot of people in your network there.
Yeah, it's funny. So it's just as an aside here, I used to think really super I think maybe a lot of guys have this, is that they think really super attractive women must be already taken, right? They must have a boyfriend, they must have a husband already, and stuff like that. That has not been my experience since since I started working with you guys, but certainly in Las Vegas too.
Yeah, I I definitely agree with that in the sense that I don't feel like there's taken as many people think they are. Now, I don't agree. There was this like one famous TikTok where I think this girl says that like, you know, really pretty girls don't get hit on. And then it cuts to a guy saying bullshit. I don't know if you've ever seen that clip. It's great.
No.
I don't agree with that, but I definitely think that I think there's a lot of misconceptions with like the online like perception of like especially attractive women. So the biggest misconception I see is that one, they're all taken. That's definitely not true. Two, that they have ridiculous standards. That's the biggest thing I've seen. I've actually noticed, and tell me if you notice this coming to the events, but something Michael and I noticed. I've noticed that the really attractive women, I'm talking like Kylie, Maya, Lizzie, like these types of girls, they actually have less delusional standards than women who are in the middle.
Oh yeah, for sure. I you know what's funny is
that was a shock to me.
We used to ask this question, but we don't anymore because we always get the same answer. We used to go around the table and we'd ask the girls on Access Vegas to say, what would you rate yourself? And like, we're talking like, I mean, Elizabeth Chevalier, right?
Yeah.
Or Maya or whoever else.
Yeah.
And like, they're like, oh, I think I'm about a 7. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. Have you seen some of the girls on like whatever podcast and stuff like that? Like you are definitely not a 7, right? But I think they're a little bit more realistic about that. So like really super attractive women I think are more grounded when it comes to that because they're only around other really super attractive women. So they're like sort of comparing themselves to whatever their peers happen to be at that time.
100%.
I mean, maybe they're just doing that to be diplomatic and sort of be coy and just like play the game right. But like but even if they were to say, oh, I'm an 8, what? You know?
Yeah.
But I think so. I think they're a lot more down to earth than they let on.
Yeah.
And then
which is good for us.
Yeah, it is. And I'd say the thing is I think that I think I understand why a lot of guys get intimidated by like really super, you know, very, very attractive women because they're such a rarity.
Yeah.
Now, the only reason I would even say that or I can even appreciate that right now is because when I was traveling through like say 2021, 2022, most of 2023, and I would go through like airports and such, and I would just look at like normal people, like, you know, my famous experiment, which is go from TSA to your gate and just like put away your phone, don't do nothing, just like do people watching all the way. And I don't care how far it is, you're only walking for like 5 or 10 minutes, right? And look around and look at the people there, especially in a big metropolitan airport, right? Like Vegas or LAX or something like that. And look around because that's a cross section of like middle America, right? And you just look around, it's like you don't see a Kindly Myers walking around the airport. You don't see Elizabeth Chevalier. You don't see Corey Yee walking around. You see her walking around Home Depot and Costco in her Instagram, but she does that as sort of as a shtick, right? But what's funny to me is I looked at that and I thought about this and I go, you know, even when we went to Santa Barbara to go do, me and Mike we went to go do whatever podcast. I'm looking around and I'm going, there's like no hot women. There's no attractive women. Not attractive in the sense that like Las Vegas attractive.
Yeah,
like,
I get
and
that.
I got the feeling that if you ever saw like one of these girls like at like walking through the Las Vegas airport, like I don't know if they fly commercial, maybe it's all JSX, right? But if they did, it would be like seeing like a wild animal like walking through your neighborhood, your suburban neighborhood kind of thing. And it's that rare of an occasion because simply, you know, what 75% of the US population is overweight that to begin with, and you know 35-40% are obese. So and then
it's that high now.
Jesus I was just looking it up.
I got flack the other day on I was interviewing, I'll introduce you to him, he's a good dude, but I was interviewing a guy on my podcast and I got flack for saying that like being fat makes you dumber, which it does. But it's crazy. 35% of the population's obese. I didn't know it was that high. I thought it was like 15%.
I'd say it's different for men and women, but like I think the lowest I've seen is 35. So
wow,
that's great. Yeah, like obese, like clinically medically obese. Right. And I got this. I got to put this up here. This is too good. It's like, are we talking about naturally attractive or plastic attractive, like those 304s you and Mike always have on their show?
I'll let you get it.
Both, actually, both. And I understand why guys like for instance, like I think, God, I'm gonna sound really simpy for saying this. I think Corey Yee is probably one of the most attractive women I've ever seen in my life. Right. Like she is absolutely like just the I would not. I never give a girl a perfect 10, but like a 9.5. Corey Yee is 9.5.
Yeah,
for sure. And so when I see that, but people will see her and they'll go, well, she's got fake tits. Like, so fucking what?
So what?
Good. You know? But I understand why guys want to have
not to attack the guy who just wrote that super chat, but like I honestly feel like that's an excuse. Like that's an excuse to not put yourself around more attractive women. I feel like that's an excuse for you not to talk to women.
I have absolutely no problem with fake tits or anything else. I mean,
like,
okay, the lips too much. Ladies, like, can we like deflate those a little bit? Yeah,
I just like I don't think your prescription or your praxeology is like to even date those types of women. But if you can be in an environment, and I think most guys who write these types of comments can never. I really believe that most guys who write comments like this could not look Corey in the eye.
Yeah,
like I really
can barely look Corey.
Yeah, we barely. Right, but I think that it's not. The point is that if you're and why Babes in Toyland, why I think the way we're structuring Reignite this week is so great is because when you're actually in an environment with that much abundance, because here's the thing, it's not like you're just seeing like a Kindly Myers, a Corey Ree. It's like, no, it's a Kindly Myers, a Corey Ree, a Maya, and like 100 of them in one room, and you could talk to all of them in this charity event. And that is an experience that not that you need to necessarily date, marry, or do anything with these girls.
Shoot OnlyFans content with.
Shoot content with. But you need the ability to talk to women like that, because if you can talk to them, you can talk to anyone.
Talk to anybody. Yeah, that's true.
And that's part of you being a guy
immersion.
Who gets back in and who starts getting it.
Yeah, that's what it's about. Is that not why you called it immersion? I mean, like,
why we call it immersion.
Yeah, exactly. Put yourself in there. Like, if you want to learn Spanish, the best way to do it is go spend like 3 months in Mexico or Spain, whatever. You know, you're going to immerse in the language. You're going to come. You're going to do it or sink or swim, right? So it's just like sort of acclimating and habituating yourself to being able to speak the language. Well, it's the same thing, you know. It's like I love it when guys like say, "Well, I took these courses and I didn't become an instant, Giga Chat or anything like that." It's like going to the gym, man. I mean, you got to go and go and go. You got to keep it's persistence.
Yeah.
It's a.
And also the thing with a course specifically, like videos, videos are just information, but it's a different experience when people get to see how you. Like there's a different power, and I'm sure you kind of saw it when you kind of coach our immersions for a little bit, right? It's different when you actually like watch some videos versus you get to see the person in person. You got to see how they interact. You get to see how they carry themselves. And I think a lot of guys in that 45 to 65 range, to give constructive feedback, they don't realize how they're coming off. They don't realize they're uncalibrated. They don't realize they don't get it,
or they have no style, or their body language.
Yeah. And I think if you have that tribe of men around you in a place like Reignite, we get to see it, call it out, but also work on it and like get to have that third person perspective that you just don't get watching videos.
Yeah. I agree. I working with the guys in MOA and the immersions and stuff. It's interesting because I should say the last time we did a Reignite technically at the last Babes in Toyland, which was in Los Angeles and was back in June, I think is when we did that. And it was a lot of fun. We only had like 1 or 2 guys come out for it, but the guys that were there, we were just like all over them. We're like trying to help them out. We took this one guy, Harold, we took to go get a suit, get a tailored suit. Never done it in his life. Never had done that ever.
Yeah.
And we're like, hey, we need to get you fitted for something. If you're going to go to this event, we got to have you looking sharp, right? So the guys would go out. I don't know where it was. Jim Kilgore.
Awesome. That's the perfect guy.
And the perfect guy to do.
He's to get the suit.
Jim, you are now hired as the style counselor for Reignite. But I wouldn't have thought of that.
Yeah.
But Jim did. And so Jim and them took him and got him, a new drip, right? And so
see, that's the dangerous part, and why I really like that we're doing this is because like kind of like what I said earlier, it's like when you're in that age range, you either like really get it or you really don't. But the guys who really get it, like you, Mike, James, Joe, you guys are dangerous.
Yeah.
Right. When you have that testosterone, you have the style, you learn how to carry yourself. Like those guys can like have the most potential to absolutely.
Well, I tell you what's funny is like seeing this guy Harold at Babes in Toyland after we had like he's got a new set of clothes. We just basically were coaching him and talking to him the whole time. We'll see him at the thing. He's talking with other girls. He's actually holding conversations.
Yeah.
Guys like fresh out of a divorce, right? And he's out there. And he's not a great conversationalist yet, but at least he's out doing it, right? Like they keep saying, all you got to do is go make an effort, blah 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 blah. It's like it's because you guys are incels because you guys don't go out and actually do. Well, here's a guy that we said, hey, here's a new set of clothes. Go out there and put them out there. And dude fucking just jumped in with both feet. And did he go home and nail one of those chicks? No, but like he was there, and that was probably the first. He keeps calling me all the time. He's going to be at the next one too, and was just saying, "Hey, this is one of the best experiences of my life. You know, I want to. When's the next one?" kind of thing, and because they just don't have the opportunity to do that. And you know, we did it here in Los Angeles. We're doing this one in Vegas. If we could do one in Miami, maybe we go to Colorado, maybe go wherever. You know.
I think
I'm gonna try to make it as
I think this
convenient
is
as possible.
Vegas. I mean, you know how much of a shit show LA is to get around, the logistics. I hate LA. I only go there for Babes in Toyland, funny enough. But this is in our home, Vegas. We don't always do Babes in Toyland here. It's gonna be great. If you guys want to go to the Reignite Mastermind, you guys have to DM Rollo, preferably on Instagram. Just send him a message on
It
Instagram.
could be Twitter too.
It could be Twitter, but preferably
Twitter's
Instagram.
a cesspool as
Twitter's
you're
a
discovering.
cesspool. So and you can also email as well. Respond to the link.
Cesspool.
Yeah, but you either reply to the email list on Twitter, but preferably on Instagram DMs. Shoot Rollo at Rational Mail a DM saying Reignite. Just DM that word, and he'll get back to you with all the details of the event, the itinerary, and everything like that. So we'll take care of it.
Yeah. So and so that's coming up. Like, and I realize, guys, it's short notice. We apologize for that. We're just like saying, hey, why don't we get this thing going?
Yeah.
And
we're gonna cut off enrollment tomorrow night. Give you basically a day and a half. We're capping it at 10, right?
And we're not doing this to give you the hard sell. We really just don't have the time to do it. So.
We just don't have the time.
Yeah. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And I like the fact that we're capping it too, because then you can like give guys a little bit more personal one-on-one kind of, talks and stuff like that too. So it'll be good, man. I'm actually excited for this week. I'm excited for the whole program, quite honestly. I want to see where we're going to do it in September or October or November and into the next year. So, and just see how it sort of builds on, I think it's going to like build exponentially over the course.
That's
of the next
usually
year.
how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
You
usually
start
how it
small.
goes.
And then like I said, this is the fun part.
Especially since
when it
you
gets
actually-
bigger and you have to do logistics, then you're kind of like,
especially since you actually have an audience. Like when I started with Michael, I think Michael had like 10,000 subs and he had like 30,000 followers on Instagram. You actually have like more of that established base of people who just really appreciate your content, your work as an author. So there's a lot you can really, really do.
Yeah. It's going to be good. And then again, it's guys 45 to 65 primarily. If you happen to be 70, you're not out of the range either.
Or if you're 35,
if you're 35, you're not
range.
necessarily out of the range. If you want to be
These are
involved in it.
approximate numbers.
Yes, I guess. People go, oh man, I'd love to join, but I'm 44. I'm like, dude, come on.
You're 44 in 355 days.
Yes.
No, you're good.
Yes. It's not a hard and fast. Though that's just the target demographic. So I want people to know that, because I think people will just like, well, wait a minute. So anyways, yes, that's what we got going on.
Yeah. Do we want to open up a little Q&A if they want to ask questions?
Yeah. If you guys want to ask anything, you don't necessarily even have to super chat for this. If there's anything else that you want, that's fine. I do want to start on today's topic though, because I think it's kind of pertinent. This has been making the rounds. We'll probably do a standalone video on this, guys, just to let you know. But this has been making the rounds recently. And this was on Twitter. And it's like, I think I destroyed my relationship trying to compliment my boyfriend. My boyfriend and I are both 28 years old and together for 2.5 years. Yesterday night, we were drinking and one thing led to another. And I tried to compliment him by saying he's not someone who I would hook up with or be friends with benefits, but marry. I thought everything was fine, but he seemed extremely distraught after that. I realized how he understood it and tried to clarify it, but he is still the same this morning. He told me he needs some space to think for a while and left the house. All my friends tell me I messed it up, and guys tell me it's not a compliment, and most men will understand it differently. I think I destroyed a relationship, and I am panicking right now.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, you basically did.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, you said the quiet part out loud is what you did. And so what's going on right now all throughout Twitter is there's all the women are trying to sort of scramble and be apologetic about this. And then, of course, they're trying to turn it back, which is expected, trying to turn it back on guys saying, well, imagine being so insecure that you couldn't like take that as a compliment, blah, blah, blah. And the thing is it's not even, they're trying to like sort of play catch up for videos like this.
us women place guys into 3 categories. The first category is the guy that we meet and we instantly just want. The sexual chemistry is high. We don't care what they do or how much they make, they are getting it. The second type is the guy that, he's okay. He's maybe not that good looking, but he's willing to spend money. He's going to pay our bills. He's going to buy us nice things. He's going to take us on all the dinner dates. But is he the one? No. Is sexual chemistry high? Or mid, probably. And then there's the third guy. The third guy doesn't have a shot in hell. There is nothing that he can do. There is no amount of money that he can make that would make us want him. He is a no right off the bat. Am I lying or am I telling the truth?
I have a question about your view on this. So with these 3 categories, going back to like that picture from earlier. So obviously I think women place guys in those 3 categories. Now, do you think though, depending on a guy's behavior over a long enough period of time, that he can like shift from one category for another?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people will disagree with me on that, because they think that they're locked for life. Like, well, you can't fix ugly, right? You know, you can't fix short.
Yeah.
You can't fix. I'm like, well, the problem with that is that, yeah, you're probably right. If you're like physically deformed, there's probably nothing I'm going to be able to do that's going to like, you know, I mean, you can have a good attitude about it. You could be born with like, you know, hands and no arms or anything like that, but you just like those are like outliers. Those are like very rare statistical anomalies for that. Okay. I think a lot of guys think that they're doomed because of their looks or they're doomed because of their height. Now, what is the guy that is, was he part of MOA? I see him at every damn Babes in Toyland event, and the guy is like 5'5" or 5'6".
Oh,
and
Anthony.
he is surrounded by beautiful women all
He's
the
5
time.
feet.
5 feet. That's how
You're talking
tall.
about Anthony?
Yeah.
He's white.
Yeah.
Is he a white
There's
guy?
always one guy there that's like the shortest dude, and he's like surrounded. I'm like, damn, how does this guy's a shark?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I know like most like
this guy. This guy, Anthony.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Now I know what you're talking about. Now he's part of MOA, right?
Yeah, he's one of the head coaches.
One of the head
MOA,
coaches. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and the guy does pretty well, you know, granted for, you know, even in spite of himself.
Yeah.
So are there, again, that might be also a statistical outlier. I understand that, but that's on the plus side rather than on the negative.
But everything
side.
he does though is something you can control, right?
Right.
Like, you can't control whether you're deformed or your height or your looks to some extent. There's a lot you could do about your looks than people really think. I'm a testament to that myself, but you know, you can control building a network, building a tribe, building a social circle, building pre-selection,
social proof, pre-selection,
all the things we talk about, building dread as you talk around the book. And that can like change the category that you get placed in.
Yeah. I mean, okay. So is Joe Pesci and Danny DeVito going to be like at the top of their game compared to somebody like Henry Cavill? Or no, of course not.
Yeah.
But you know what? From within their limitations, they can maximize themselves to overcome what would otherwise be more or less be more overwhelmingly a limitation for them.
Right.
Okay. So given that, I wanted to address that first before I talk about the rest. I agree with what she's saying because she's basically outlined the 80-20, 4.5% rule. 4.5% rule is the guy that he or she talks about in the very beginning right there. There's always going to be a guy. That's Justin Waller. Justin Waller is going to get fucking laid. I hate you. Hate you for this. Yeah. But I'm not, as God is my witness, I even have the picture of it. I'll show. I don't want to show it online, but I have been at events with Justin. We were at a collective. It was George Gammon's event, and we were out there, and I think we were in Texas. And it was myself and his PA Tom. We're at a Mexican restaurant. We're just sitting. It's the end of the event. We're just sitting here, just nonchalant, just having this regular, normal, casual conversation. Some stunningly beautiful chick walks by the table. He was sitting like right about where you were. He walks by the table, comes this way. She puts looks like a bill, like a bar tab or a bill or like a restaurant tab like there, and so he picks it up, he looks at it, and it says like Ashley and the phone number on the thing, right? And he holds it up. That's when I took the picture. He holds it up like this, and he's smiling like a big old shit-eating grin on his face. The chick basically is at the hotel and wants to fuck him just based on just seeing him.
Yeah.
Didn't say one word. So she wanted to open. She was basically
to be in the
open him.
4.5%. I think a lot of guys watch you and Mike and kind of get.
I am definitely not in the 4.5%.
Yeah,
I thank you for thinking I look so good for my age, but I am definitely not in the 4.5%.
Do you think to be in the 4.5%, it's just about looks?
I think that has the most to do with being the 4.5%.
Okay, got it.
It's not the only thing, but I think it has the most to do with being in the 4.5%.
Right.
So it's like anything else. When people say, "What's the most important thing?" Ro? Is it looks? Is it money, muscles, or game? Is it what is it? Affluent? I always call it looks, affluence, and game. Those things. Like if you can't have two, at least have two, because you'll make up for the deficit in the one. I mean, best is have three, right?
Yeah.
But at a minimum, have two. If you can only have one, make sure it's game. Game is the most important of that.
You think game is?
I think game is the most important.
Why?
Simply because you can be very stunningly good looking, right? And you can get opened.
Yeah.
But for instance, if that girl who had given the number to Justin on that night, right? If he didn't have game, if he was, that's like saying a guy who has like Down syndrome, but looks like Justin Waller, that guy's still going to get laid.
Yeah.
No, it's not just about the looks. Looks is at the top of the list. It's the number one most thing, but it's not the only thing on the list. Okay.
Yeah.
So if it comes down to two guys who have about the same level of like physical like the physical prowess, money, muscularity, everything else, they both have pretty much equal. Their faces are both symmetrical. They both look pretty. They're twins basically.
Yeah.
And one doesn't have game and one does, the guy who has game is getting laid.
Do you think if one guy is higher in looks and one guy is lower, the guy with more game can overtake the guy with better looks?
I think that would be contextualized.
Yeah.
But yes, generally, but I think it would be contextualized. I think it just depends on like where you are. Like the guy who has good game in like at a Megadeth concert is not the same guy who has good game at like going to see Deadmau5, right? Or well, I'm just putting it into like sort of a social context, or EDC, right?
Yeah.
Like a guy like me would clean up at Vamped, okay, but not at EDC, not at EDC, because you're simply not in your own element. I think so. Again, it's contextual. Like Mike was trying to say that he was trying to.
It's funny. We were with Deadmau5 last night.
Yeah, that's why. That's why I brought that up. I know you guys, and then you guys are going to go see Skrillex. I mean, I'll go see Skrillex.
Yeah.
But no, like he was talking about during Access Vegas last Thursday. He was explaining. What a contextual alpha is. It's actually a chapter in my first book, is being a conditional contextual alpha, meaning like the guy who is the teacher of the classroom. In that classroom, he's the alpha. The teachers are, because he's directing track. Everybody's there. The guy who is on a photo shoot and he's the photographer and he says, "Do this, arch your back, show me your ass, show me your tits, blah, blah, blah. Here, I'm taking pictures of you," or he's the one who's in command. I've been in those situations before where I've done video shoots for products when I was in working in wine and spirits. Like we would have girls that we were going to do like a video spot for, and I would have to say, "You do this," and I had to be careful too, because as soon as you step up and you're the guy that's like giving orders, that's social proof immediately. And that's like, and it becomes pre-selection. If one of the chicks finds you attractive, the other ones will too, because you're in a command presence state of mind right there. So it kind of depends on the context, but generally, yes.
Yeah.
But the girl, it basically is describing the 80-20 4.5% rule. So the 4.5% obviously is the guys getting laid all the time. Then there's the 20%ers who are like, is the sex intensity there? She says mid, right? Maybe at best, mid at best. And then there's the 80%ers who are they're the invisibles. That's what Mike calls them. Like the guy who's stocking the shelves at CVS. He uses this example where you say, hey, he'll talk to one of his girls and say, "You see that guy over there?" She's like, "What? The one behind the stocker right there who's behind, at the pharmacy or something like that?" No, the guy who's actually stocking the shelves. You see that guy? No, they don't.
Like the guy behind the mailman? No, the mailman.
The mailman. Yes. Yeah. The guy who's invisible to you. Like those are the 80%ers. Those are the guys who just simply are just not there. They're NPCs. They're not there. To women, they're NPCs. Right. And again, are all women like that? It's by order of degree, of course. It's by order of attractiveness. It's by order of what that woman, thinks her own sexual market, her self-perceived sexual market value is.
Yeah.
That's like something I need to bring up next time he uses that example. I think that it's according to the sort of the self-perception of that woman's own evaluation of herself. Right. But by and large, yeah. If women are actually looking for an attractive man, they're going to see right through the guy who's stocking the shelves at Walgreens. So, But those are the 80%ers. Those are the guys who are, she says, not a chance in hell they're ever going to, there's not a chance in hell they'll even be visible. So we're talking about 80%. And the reason why we use the number 80% is not because of the Pareto principle, or it's the old school red pill 80-20 rule, which is 80% of guys. And this is even Dr. David Buss, everybody drink, has said, he's done, there's multiple studies on this. It's not just David Buss. There's several others as well, where women rate 80% of men as unattractive. Steve Stewart Williams, for example. 80% of men are deemed or are designated as being unattractive, being that swipe. There's just no chance in hell that they're ever going to have any sort of interest.
Do you think that's just purely because of physical reasons, because of context?
I think it's more about physical reasons right now. It might have been something prior, but like right now, because we have like everything is visual based on our apps and stuff, we just swipe through. Do you remember? Maybe this is before your time. Do you remember an old website called Am I Hot or Not? You do. Remember Am I Hot or Not? Am I Hot or Not was like back in like the mid 2000s, I think.
Really? You've heard of this?
Yeah. And what it was, it's basically the same like function that like Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, all that. And what they would do is they would take pictures of them. They'd take selfies of themselves. They would put them up on there and you would rate them. And they would just like, it was a global rating. Like, and of course, all the guys get rated like shit. And all the hottest chicks are like all 10s, right? Which is, duh. But that's essentially what dating apps have sort of turned into. Now, like back in the eHarmony days and Plenty of Fish and OkCupid and Match.com and all that stuff, it used to be you would type out this really elaborate profile of what you're about and what the person you're looking for is about.
Yeah.
And you would go like, I like long walks on the beaches and I like rainbows and puppy dogs and I like, orange mocha frappuccino.
Yeah.
And so, but it was like this really kind of soul searching. It was like, you really had to like get, cerebral about it. Now it's just like, nope. Yeah. Nope. That's all it is. And then they'll go, I can't find any good guys. Because it's all based on perception. It's all based on image right now. So if you want, Core Chaliff is right. It is about your Instagram images and what they portray. And you have less than like what, half a second for it to register.
So for those guys who are in like the that 45 to 65 range, how at Reignite are we helping them get out of that 80%?
Right. Well, the thing is primarily there's two types of guys in Reignite. Okay, there's going to be the guys who are coming out of a divorce, and usually a very nasty divorce, right? Because otherwise they wouldn't be looking for our help. And then there's the guys who never really got it. Like those are the guys who got to be about 50. They've never been married. They don't have any kids, and they're thinking, usually they're very kind of particular about the women that they want to get with. A lot of these guys end up becoming passport bros. I'm not saying anything bad about passport bros, but I'm just saying these are the guys who like, what, all these women in Western countries suck. I'm going to go to Guam.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to Thailand. I'm going to go to the Philippines or whatever and find me a good traditional woman. And of course, they're just as big gold diggers as anybody else because you have the golden ticket back to the West. So there's really those two kinds of guys. And so I'll just give you a quick example. Actually, again, to use Harold, didn't know that he didn't have style. He just simply doesn't know. The dude is in shape. He is like, he's got abs too. I mean, the guy he's older than I am, dude. And the guy has got abs. He goes to the gym. His hair is gray. It's like very silver. And he looks kind of like your aging uncle or your grandfather or something like that. I'm like, well, maybe you want to dye your hair. Maybe you want to just shave it. Well, I don't know what, you got to find some style. He has no style. That's the problem. And I think it was Adam Carolla one time said that like guys who are just
Do I know Harold? I don't think I do.
No, I'll introduce you to him this week. He'll be here this week.
Yeah, I see it sometimes actually on because I obviously used to do a lot of like the initial coaching calls for MOA. Mike's a perfect example. Mike does not look like a normal 46-year-old, right? So like when I see 45,
what does a normal 46-year-old look like?
I think a normal 46-year-old is Like,
what is a normal 56-year-old like?
I think a normal
no,
not at all. No, normal 56-year-old is like wearing like the cargo shorts or like the oversized polos.
What is wrong
with this?
What is wrong with cargo shorts?
Are you serious? What's wrong?
I just don't understand about that.
Yeah, they're wearing the oversized cargo shorts. They're like,
I don't own any. I'm just because of that.
They don't. They don't have Instagram. They don't want to get on social media. You know, they don't want to adapt. There's just like a lot of you know, they
want to coast. They want to ride it out.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
Yeah. Like they brag about not knowing how to use their phone. Like, no,
yeah,
that's bad.
Sorry, Aaron Clary.
Yeah,
but looking at you.
Yeah, no, that is the worst thing you could say to young, attractive women is bragging about not how to use your phone. So again, it's a hard concept to quantify or qualify per se, but like being the guy who gets it, you know, that's really what we got to work on.
Yeah, I think so too. And so as far as like going from like the 80, I would be happy to get guys from the 80th percentile, which is the no chance in hell, to maybe a shot in the 20 percentile. Simply because I think that really that's been the story of most guys' lives. Like if they go from hero to zero, right?
Yeah.
So if you've got like a guy like, say, even like Jeff Bezos, or if you look at a guy like Bill Gates, or you look at guys who are just like the classic nerd, even Elon Musk, the guys who are like the classic nerds, right? Who are, I mean, even Elon Musk, I believe he says he has Asperger's syndrome. I'm pretty sure I've heard him say that before. Guys who have to sort of find a way to go from ordinary to extraordinary, right? And so in their cases, they just made a shit ton of money, right? Well, how about guys who are coming out of a divorce and they don't have any style? I mean, at least Harold, you had something to work with because the guy's in shape, right? And he's got some money. So I don't have to worry so much about health and wealth, except for maybe the style part of health, you know, game basically. He has no style. And then of course he doesn't know anything about his body language because he had the duck walk. You know,
oh, that's another thing. I thought about that, but that's a great way of calling it the duck walk. Like, I knew what it was, but I never had a term for it. But I've seen that. And
I didn't. I'll tell you what's funny is I didn't even notice it until Jim Kilgore noticed it.
Yeah,
that he had the duck walk. And then that's the thing is
Jim had the duck walk.
No, that Harold had. We were noticing him. We're watching him walk, and he was just kind of like, you know, like almost a cartoon character. I'm just like, why are you walking like that? And so it goes back to like, I remember when, you know, John MLD had a body language mastery. And I remember like looking at, I audited those classes. Like I would go in there and say like, who doesn't know this shit, right? They don't know this. They actually don't know how, they don't know what certain body language means because these guys, at least who were part of that group at the time, simply didn't have the, they grew up behind a screen, a monitor, a tablet, or whatever it is, and they don't have lived experience to understand. Like I don't see other people doing things and then learn from other people's behavior.
Yeah, and that's why you were building this tribe, right? It's like like think about that, right? Like he did a demonstration. The guys didn't know what they didn't know. Yes. And then they improved from there. Right. And that's like why having that feedback is so powerful.
And then having somebody to say, dude, why are you walking like that? Right. And having the balls to go and say, dude, did that really?
Yeah.
You know, and not as an insult, but because we want to help you. And sometimes it's hard to even say that, like, because you don't want to step on their feet. But in this case, you kind of have to, because if you don't, they're not going to know.
Yeah.
And so if you want that guy to go from like ordinary to extraordinary, you're going to have to fix the duck walk. You're going to have to fix the style. You're going to have to fix your hair. You're going to have to do something.
Yeah. I mean, have you seen how Jim and Joe walk into a room? I'm almost like, it's almost intimidating when you see like Kilgore or Joe Marone walk into a room.
Jesus Christ, man. That guy has more freaking clothes than most of the chicks I know, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but it's
nothing against that. But
no, it's great. Shout out Jamesy for watching, man. Like, keep it up.
Holy
like, I need to
shit.
take some style advice from him, but it's not even that. It's like he has the suit, it's tailored, and then this the way he walks and carries himself. You're like, oh, I'm not fucking with this guy. you know, this guy gets it. You know?
Yeah. And then I'll tell you the funny thing is, and I talked to him about, I joke with him about this because like Corey Shaloff, like one of the principles of his photography stuff is like for if you want to be a guy that like conveys high value, you have to be in like a nice suit or something. You have to be, no one has to be around it, just one person, and that's you shot. In this
high value
setting, like you're in freaking, you know, Burma next to some like, you know, ancient temple or some shit like that. Or in Jim Kilgore's case, it looks I know where he took these shots, but it looks like he's in the middle of Milan and he's by himself. Like there's not a soul around. I'm like, did he get up at like 6 a.m. or 4 a.m. to go take these shots
Like
so
on
nobody
a
will
leather
be there?
jacket on a motorcycle.
Exactly. And it's just him, or he's like alone on, he's on like 395 going out towards like Arizona on this just lone highway, and he's the only one there, and they take a picture of him, right? And then I happen to know that where he took those pictures that look like he's in Milan, it's Tivoli down here. Tivoli Village. It looks like Milan. It does look like,
yeah. Spoiler alert.
Yeah,
Then there's
Las Vegas. He's got everybody at a disadvantage.
Then there's like the walkway at the wind.
Yes.
You do it. Yeah.
You do it early enough.
I have all those photos.
Yes. Yes. So anytime I see one dude and he's in this really exotic location, I go, "You've been talking to Court."
Yeah.
But it works. The shit works, and it's just like even knowing that kind of stuff is advantageous. But as far as like, going from 80 percentile to the 20 percentile and stuff, I've seen guys do it. That's easy. Going from like 20th percentile to the 4.5, that's hard. That's dedication that most guys simply don't have.
Yeah.
Can it be done? Yes.
When you say dedication, what do you mean by that?
Well, perseverance, persistence.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a lot like bodybuilding. Okay. So I don't think a lot of people realize, like, when you get into body, and not to say this is me, because I'm not gonna compete in the Masters or anything, but when I see guys who are like who I'm impressed by, let's just say, as far as their physique is concerned, like what's the meme? It's like when women see other really attractive women, they'll go, "I could never compete with her. She's photoshopped," and they just like, they just cry their eyes out because they're fat and this other girl's not, right?
Yeah.
And they think they could never be that. A guy sees another good-looking guy, like a really built, the guy goes, "I must be like him. I must eat like him. I must train like him. I must take I must take whatever drugs he's on." Like their whole mindset becomes a dedication to at least use that guy as some sort of inspiration. Right?
You know what's actually crazy? I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen his younger pictures, but you know who had a really like a glow up? Justin. Have you ever seen his younger?
Oh, I know.
People think he just looks like that.
I've interviewed when he was coming up. I interviewed him.
Have you seen his younger pictures?
Dude, he was baby Huey.
Yeah,
he was like huge.
He was. I think he was a DN, so he had like a lot of. He had to carry some body fat.
Motherfucker. Yeah. Yes.
Oh, that's crazy. That's so bad for your health, bro.
I know. But now look at him. Yeah. But look at him. Right.
Oh, that's crazy, man.
He's
But yeah, no, he had like a real glow up. He didn't always look like a Giga Chad the way he does now.
No, not at all. And didn't talk like a Giga Chad either, too. Because I've seen some of the stuff. Like he's shown me, like Justin and I are like, we're like family friends. Like my wife knows his wife and their kids and everything else, and we exchange like Christmas cards and shit like that, right? I don't think people really realize like where he came from. Like he came from the deep South, okay, and then to become who he is, right? So he actually has a good Batman origin story. I don't, but he does, right? But yeah, it's possible. It's possible to go from the 20% into the 4.5%. But what I think is like when you see guys who are like really super like dedicated bodybuilders and stuff, that's dedication that most people just simply don't have.
Yeah.
They don't have the perseverance. They don't realize how much you have to sacrifice to achieve that degree of, well, a physique in this case, but it could be something else. And like, even when you could probably remember my infamous vasectomy tweet, right? I was being over the top with that tweet where I was saying, if the fastest way to become a high value, the quickest way, I didn't say the only way, I didn't say the best way, I said the fastest way is to not get married, don't prioritize family, get a vasectomy so you don't get rolled like Fresh did and you get baby trapped. That's really what that was about. Everybody fixates on that. But then I also said, resist the urge of easing up on your focus. Always hit the gym. Like there's 7 other articles besides that. And really the reason why it was over the top, I was actually responding to Dr. Richard Reeves. As a matter of fact, it was a throwaway tweet that everybody just like lost their minds over. But the reason why I said that is because most people don't understand the level and the degree of sacrifice you need to make to get from what you think you want, like keys to the Playboy Mansion. Remember how that, that analogy, right?
I wish I was old enough to get the
keys to the Playboy Mansion.
I've heard the story.
That's Mike's analogy, right? You said you wanted the keys to the Playboy Mansion. Well, here's what you have to do to get the keys, right? And then once you've got the keys, you're here, and this is what's in the Playboy Mansion. And you have to want it 100%. And if you don't, you're never going to get there. And that's like a lot of people don't realize, like when you're bodybuilding, you want to like put on size. They don't realize how much you have to eat. I mean, like just that in general is first off. Or they don't understand, like, oh, it's just working out, it's just doing gear, it's just doing TRT, it's just doing this or whatever. It's like, no, there's much more, because you are going. I think the
average gym goer does not work out. Like I love this, like when people use the steroids excuse, because you don't work out as much as the guys who take steroids.
Yeah, exactly.
And most there's no amount of steroids that you and I are going to take where we're ever going to look like Chris Bumstead or like Ronnie Coleman. It's just never going to happen.
Yeah. But I've got this one really great video.
You know what I've always wondered? You know that red post you pulled up? I wonder if, because I see like people like read them out on TikTok. I wonder if like these are just writers who make up stories so they can get views.
Of course they do. Yeah,
I wonder if like these stories are even real.
This is good though. This is pertinent here.
To bodybuilding, or if you want to go to another level of your fitness, it's a journey of solitude. A lot of your friends and family, they're not going to understand what this is. My opinion, a man is the foundation. Why he should prioritize himself, because if he is not whole, he's stressed all the time. If he's dealing with this, that, the kids, it could be very difficult for the family. There's this term that we've all heard, be white, happy life. That is probably the most absurd thing I've ever heard in my life. In the times that we live in now, to hold off on having children, you are not together, like I say, financially, physically, mentally, emotionally, it could be massive hurdles in your way raising a kid.
I thought that was pretty good. Like I follow. What's that guy's name? Is it Cali Muscle guy? Yeah, like he's that. Remember I said inspiring.
Yeah. He was in prison for like 10 years, but kind of like Wes Watson.
Mike Rashid. Yeah, Wes Watson. I like Mike Rashid, Wes Watson, Cali Muscle guy. I mean, you look at this. I don't.
Oh, Mike Rashid's coming on my show.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is he coming out here? Because
whenever he comes out here next, I texted him. He was like, "Yeah, I would love to come on
for sure.
So it's gonna be great."
Yeah, I mean, I want to see stuff like that.
Are you friends with Mike Rashid?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you should. I mean, the podcast he just did with Michael on Mike's show, on Mike Rashid's show, was awesome. I think you should go.
I got his number right here.
You should go on the show at some point. It was great.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I just wanted to say that, like, when you are.
Oh, by the way, were there any questions about Reignite? Did you see any?
I haven't really seen any just yet. Do I have any stuff? Yeah. If you have any questions about Reignite, please,
we're all ears.
More than happy. All right. So let me go through this real quick. MJ 3000. That's Cali Muscles guy, right? Yeah. So anyways, really, motherfucker, here, but here I'm going to let you have one shot here. With coming of the New World Order, really, and without standing armies, you will require silver to defend that which you believe is yours. But George won't tell you this because he wants to sell you books. Yeah, that's all. Hey, I'm an author, dude. Okay, you're out. Bye, motherfucker. Block. Yeah. Buy silver. Everybody buy silver now. We're all going to hell before November 6th, right? God. I love how we get into like all of these eschatology, conversations, like the world's coming. These are the end times. Did you not know that that's exactly what they said in 2020?
And 2016,
and before that, everything
2008,
is. And by the way, we haven't quite got to it yet, but usually like right around, we'll probably get it in September, October. Then we're going to get like Dinesh D'Souza or somebody talking, putting out their latest video. And by the way, both sides do it too. Michael Moore would have done the same thing, right?
Oh,
yeah. You're going to get your like your agitprop movie is going to come out sometime between September and October. Trust me on this. It'll be Civil War, so you get everybody motivated to go to the polls. So this is how they do it. So, yeah. So anyways, I mean, getting back to to this, where'd she go? This one. I think one of the reasons, like the chicks,
there's definitely people who write stories like this just to get views.
Right.
So I wonder how much.
Right. Well, I have some others actually. I've got another one here. Boyfriend proposed. I said yes, but I have worries. Let me see if I can. Let me read this to you. I'm 28. Notice they're all 28. By the way,
mm-hmm.
like the compliment girl is also 28 as well. This tracks absolutely perfectly with my timeline here from the second book, I should also point out, which is the beginning of the Epiphany phase right there. And the reason why she's like panicking about having destroyed her relationship, her 2.5-year relationship, is because she wants to, even with this conversation, she thinks the compliment is going to motivate him and prompt him to ask her to marry him. That's what this is about.
That's the absurd
ladies,
part.
that's what this is fucking about. Jesus Christ. Like, it's like, how do we not see shit like this? And so
wait, a question for you though. Like, what is your prescription? Like, if I came to you with
eject.
You okay? Eject.
That's
Okay,
a prescription,
got it. All right,
which is exactly what he's doing. Because if you, the other great thing about this is it's really kind of showing us what dual mating is. So
but the thing is that like it's unrealistic. You're gonna find a girl who hasn't been with at least maybe.
Oh, I understand that. I totally.
So is the answer always
trying
to find a younger girl? Like you're always gonna. You're gonna find the Virgin Mary.
Well, no,
right?
of course not. No, you're talking.
So how do you avoid that situation that guy's in?
Okay, so here's the thing: is the reason why this guy is kind of pissed off and kind of like he's insulted basically. Yeah. It's not a compliment, and the reason for that is because, and I've said this in the past, is like you take away me, you take away Rhinestone, you take away the Red Pill, you take away Myron and Fresh, Andrew Tate, you take away everybody in the manosphere that you know right now.
Mm-hmm.
People are still aware. They're still awake. They still see this shit every single day. They see videos like that one girl who was talking about, well, the 80% of guys are invisible, 20% of guys are the meh, and then there's a 4.5% of guys who are going to get laid no matter what, right? I didn't produce that video. Neither did anybody in the Red Pill. One chick on TikTok produced that video, and she's
of her own volition.
Of her own volition. She's not in the manosphere, as far as I know. She doesn't have a dating course or anything. She just threw it out there to throw it out there. And guess what? You know what? Whenever you see 6'5", finance, blue eyes, trust fund, whatever the fuck, when you see those, when those go viral, all that's happening is you're seeing exactly this right here, which is men that would make a good friends with benefits and men that would make a good husband. Yeah. And then the guy who's in between is the best. Charming. He's the Prince Charming. And that's right there, ladies. That's what you're after. But you're not expecting that. That's what she said, even in the thing right here. You're not the guy I would have a hookup with or a friends with benefit, but you're the kind of guy I would marry. Oh, so essentially I'm on the blue side of the whole thing, right?
Like
there.
That's the blue.
Yeah. And so I said this is like, I said, ladies, and men already understand this, just so you know, if the guy wouldn't make a good fuck buddy, if the guy wouldn't make the kind of guy you'd want to fuck in the foam cannon party on Cancun on spring break, he was hot, you were drunk, and one thing led to another. If that guy's not that, he's also not. If he's not like that, then don't try to put him into. He's not. If that guy's not good enough to marry, then the other guy's not good enough to marry either. You want the guy who's in the middle. You want that guy who's in the pink zone right there, right? So what this does, I think the reason why this is pissing off so many women on Twitter right now, who of course they just resort to shaming and everything.
And insecure. He's
insecure. You should dump him, girl, because he's insecure. Right? No, he's not insecure. He's aware. He's fucking awake to exactly this, and that's not hard to figure out, ladies. Yeah. It's like two fucking circles. Okay, it's not hard to figure out. So when she says the quiet part out loud. Mm-hmm. He already knows what the quiet part is. Yeah, that's why he's pissed off. That's why he's like, "Fuck this, I'm out." Right? Mm-hmm. I don't want because the guy on the yellow side of this Venn diagram here, that's the guy who fucks. Mm-hmm. The other guy is the one who pays for who's doing the fucking. Mm-hmm. And so that's really, again, that's not even so much a red pill thing or a manosphere thing. That's just fucking reality. That's just everyone is aware of this, and not because of me. As I've said before, the people who are it's not going to be Rollo Tomasi who red pills the most people before he dies. It's going to be women like that one in the TikTok video. It's going to be this chick here. Yeah. It's not going to be me. It's going to be women who are going to red pill men, not the guys in the manosphere.
Agreed. I mean, obviously the person who red pilled me the most was Sartain when I first started working with him. And I think guys get into this misconception of like, they're almost afraid to put themselves in the category of being the player or the fuck buddy or whatever it is, because they think that's going to turn the girl off, when clearly you can be that guy, be the fuck buddy, and then transition to marriage. But if you're the guy who's just comfort, you're just the guy who's, relationship worthy, then you end up like this guy in this Reddit post.
Right.
Which is, you're even worse off.
Well, and then so this gets back to my beef with these guys who keep harping on the idea that it's all about mate switching. It's like women's, and I've locked horns with Mike on this as well, because it's a pet hypothesis of Dr. David Buss, right? And who, by the way, was on board with dual mating strategy pretty much his entire life, right up until 2021, 2022, when he started his dating course, which of course, if you base it on dual mating, you're not going to get any women to sign up for that course. You're going to get a lot of men who are going to sign up for it, but you're not going to get women to. So they had to find some sort of like half measure hypothesis so they can say, well, ladies, if you cheat on your husband, it's not really your fault. He just wasn't measuring up. And that's basically what it boils down to. And so when I look at like, say, the dual mating strategy stuff here, women separate guys in at least these are the three guys right here, like the invisibles, the guys who would be, and the guys who will get to fuck, and then the guys who are like maybe the best of both of those. Those guys are super fucking rare. Guys who are would make a good dad, but would make a good fuck buddy. And so they tend to get locked down that much, and so what happens much quicker. And then what happens is you're left with fuck buddy, or you're left with fuck boy, or you're left with good dad. And women, I think, depending on the age, I've said this as far back as my second fucking book here, that women don't even look for a particular guy until they're ready, until they're at a particular phase of their maturity. So if a woman is 28 years old, she realizes that the lights are coming up in the club. It's 4 a.m. and she better fucking grab some dude to get out of the club with before the lights come on, right? And it's what we've been calling sticking the landing for a long time. So, and of course, what is the average age of first marriage for women? 30 years old. They said 28. That's when the fucking chips come down. That's when the fucking urgency starts to hit. That's why she's upset. That's why she's panicking, because she thinks she fucked things up, and she did fuck things up because she said the silent part out loud. And if she would have said, you're the kind of guy, if here's what she should have said, you know what? You're the kind of guy who would have fucked in the foam cannon party, but you're also a pretty good dad. That puts him in the pink zone. That puts him in the middle there. If you say, if she would have, even if she's lying to him, right? He wouldn't have the same reaction. She thinks it's a compliment, and women still think it's a compliment. They think it's a compliment because you're the kind of guy that's going to save them from themselves. You're the kind of guy who at the 0 hour at 28, 29, 30 years old is going to be the one who swoops in and saves the day, pays her bills, takes her kids, whatever else, has benefits and everything else, steps up, and nothing's sexier. And the reason why I use that term is because that's exactly what Sheryl Sandberg said in her book, Lean In 2013. Like her advice to young women was, fuck them all. Fuck the bad boy, fuck the rock band drummer, the guys but don't marry those guys. Marry the guy who is a good provider. Of course, when you're 29, 30, 31 years old, right? And once you get involved with them, then nothing is sexier, really, because you don't have any other options at that point. Essentially, what she's saying is, have your fun in your party years, which is exactly what I've been saying for forever. Have your fun in your party years, and then stick the landing before you're 29 or 30 years old. That's basically what it boils down to.
And is that why you say, like, if she makes you wait, it's never worth the wait?
Yeah. Well, because women the thing is that women will break rules for alphas, and they will make rules for betas. If a woman is making rules for you, saying, well, you're not going to fuck me until I see your 401k, right? You're not going to fuck me until I put a ring on it. You're not going to fuck. I don't know how comfortable I feel with you, blah, blah, blah. But you did feel comfortable fucking that guy in the foam cannon party when you were 22 years old and you were a co-ed in college, running up your credit card bill that I'm going to have to pay for if we ever got married, right? Because now it's community debt. You're okay with that. And hell, we've had chicks on the show say exactly the same thing. But like I always bring up the conversation when I was like working in wine and spirits, and I would overhear conversations of the women who were working for me. And they would say, like, have you ever had sex on the same night? Oh yeah. He's hot, but not if he was boyfriend material. You would think it was the other way around, right? You would think, this guy is so fucking good, and he's such a catch. And I want to bring him home to my mom and dad. I'm going to fuck him tonight and make sure that he's mine, because I don't want to lose this guy, and I don't want anybody else swooping in and taking him. So I'm going to do that. No, that's not what they do. That's why I said, if you look at again, dual mating, men that would make a good friends with benefits and a one night stands, same night lays, fuck buddy, whatever you want to call it, that's instant, that's short-term sexual. long-term security side, provisioning, protection, and parental investments. That's all on the blue side of that that circle right there. And women, as I can find, this is just one video I've had in my backlog for like the last like 3 or 4 weeks. I could probably find it half a dozen. Hell, I don't even have to do that. I can just go look up. You could just listen to it in the clubs. I'm looking for a man in finance, 6'5", blue eyes. You know, that's the same fucking thing. That what she describes is the guy who's in the pink zone.
Yeah,
a guy who's good looking, guy she wants to fuck, has a lot of money, is going to be there for the long haul, and is going to provide me with long-term security.
Right.
Everything is met in one brief, you know, bonehead. What was that? Didn't they put it to like G6 or something like that? Yeah, and it's catchy and shit, and people will remember it. Right? It's a mantra.
Yeah,
is what it is. So you don't need Rollo Tomasi to tell you that when you got, you know, trust fund chick telling you the same thing. How come there's not one for guys? I'm looking for a girl with big tits,
small waists.
Yeah, somebody needs to do an opposite side of that. Like, I'm looking for a guy, looking for a girl with big tits, blue eyes,
Yeah,
that's what we need. But so anyways, this kind of goes back to a bigger dynamic also, which is what Mac and Murphy was talking about when I was put him up on the video there. The reason why I put Mac up there is, and I don't necessarily I have a problem with fucking date psych, but I have a problem with Mac.
Yeah.
But like,
hey Mac, if you ever watch
Mac,
this on, we don't have a problem with you.
We don't have a problem.
I like a lot of your content.
We're good. Yeah, I give you shit because I like you. If I didn't, I just wouldn't talk about you. Yeah, I mean, he just, where did it go? I've got the stats here. These were the stats he was going over in his video.
About? I can't even see
okay, what it is this is the stated preferences versus actual revealed preferences, like what women and men too say that they want in a partner, and what they actually get, what their partner is really about, right? And so if you look at like the discrepancies between a good lover, revealed preferences is number 1, okay? If you look at stated preferences, loyalty is number 1. So what they like, the message is I want a guy who's loyal, but in reality she wants a good lover, because that's what, when you look at what she's with, it's like it's what I call the medium is the message, right?
Yeah.
And so what women say, in large part, what women say and what women do are two different things. And that's why I keep saying, like, people will, in my first book, The Medium is the Message, is the chapter in there. And it's not just about, people misconstrue this. They think it's just about like, oh, watch what she says, don't believe what she does, right? No, it's more than that, because it is the language, the message that she's saying is the behavior itself. So if a woman is flaking on you, that's the message.
Yeah.
If a woman is, if she's there on time and she's all about it, and she wants to just jump your butt, that's the message. The behavior is, my background is in behavioral psychology, really. So
like, you're not listening to her words, you're listening to her actions.
And the actions will speak the truth. In fact, that's the premise of like modern behaviorism anyways, which is you can't tell what a person's motivations are, their intentions are, just by what they're stating. You have to watch what they do. That their actions and their behavior is the motivation.
Yeah.
So when you see women do one thing and like we go, oh, that's hypocritical. Well, it's only hypocritical if you only listen to the words as opposed to watching the actions, right? And then interpreting actions as a language itself. That's why I say the medium is the message, right? I got 2 of these. Let me see if I can throw one up here. What did you think of Psych Hack's book? He's saying love is irrelevant. Relationships are actually an exchange of value. They are. Husband's money for her body. So it's basically, this is exactly what I would expect from somebody who's only understanding or only frame of reference when it comes to relationships is transactional sex, right? The guys who are like the 4.5%ers, like Justin Wallard, like Mike and I got on, we were on our Wednesday night Twitter space. We had this one guy that was on the show and just would not hear anything else. I don't know if you caught any of that, but like the guy was just like, women only spread their legs for guys who they think they can get something out of. Like they presume that there's going to be a future. That's why they fuck them. I'm like, dude, that's what guys who don't fuck say. I will tell you that right. That is what guys who don't fuck say. Because I will tell you right now,
I can definitely tell you that's not true.
I can definitely, and we had that's one of the questions we led with on Thursday night in Access Vegas. And it's like,
well, I have some empathy because like not every guy is going to like these events that you and I go to or in these circles. So I could understand had I took a different path in life where I would have probably believed the same thing. I have seen from my personal experience and so many other guys' personal experiences that is definitely not true.
No, it's
but
not.
It's unfortunate that people believe that.
Guys, women fuck because they want to fuck.
Yeah.
They actually like fucking, right? They like, well, the chick was just saying a minute ago, like the guys who's gonna get it no matter what. He like the only thing he can do is fuck it up, right? Basically. The guy who's going to get, no matter whether he's broke or he's got a lot of money, makes no difference. He's just so hot that they want to fuck him.
Yeah,
that exists, and it's not hard to see out in the wild. And I'll tell you, I've been that dude in my 20s. I was that dude, right? When I have chicks dragging me after
those shoulders, man. You're still that dude.
Well, I wasn't as built quite as built as this, but back when I was in my
right now the biggest you have ever been.
Close to it. Yeah. But
Kyle, you're telling me
more to come. Not yet. Yes, there's more to come. No, I was gonna say is like, I mean, back when I was in my rock star 20s, I have chicks that would pull me into the women's bathroom and give me a blowjob.
You were in the band
for no other. Yeah, I was in the band.
Yeah,
for no other reason that they just wanted to. They just wanted to get down, right? And so when I see that, like that gave me the experience. Like it was like, how Mike always talks about how he was a bouncer at like a strip club and everything, and that was sort of like what woke him up. What woke me up is like there's chicks that will fuck you, and just for the sake of fucking you, like they enjoy having sex with you. You're there, like one thing led to another.
You're convenient.
Yeah.
And
I can tell you right now, like my notch count is public knowledge, right? It's about 41, 42. Now the reason why I'm like it's about 41 and 42 is because I can't remember some of the names. So and I don't even think that that's all that much. Like depending on who you're talking to, I know guys who are like in triple digits, right? But like I'm okay with my notch count. Thank you. I've moved on. I have a wife. I've been married for 28 years. I still have sex as often as I want, and it's good.
I've always thought the notch count was a very like overrated metric.
Yeah.
Because at least from the way I see it, I'm more impressed with a guy if it like let's say his notch count was, I don't know, 50. But he had a couple hot girls, like it's a normal distribution, right? He had a couple hot girls in there, a couple 5 to 60s. Maybe, 1, 2 here and there. I'm more impressed with the guy who, instead of if he had 50 notches versus he had like 20 notches, but his 20 notches were all stars.
Right.
I'm way more impressed with the second guy.
Well, it's like there's this comedy bit by Ron White, who's actually one of my favorite comedians. And he was talking about the difference between the average guy cheating on his wife and Tiger Woods cheating on his wife.
Exactly.
Right. So the guy who deserves the credit is the guy, not Tiger Woods. It's Tiger Woods, not the other guy. Like the other guy just simply doesn't have the opportunity, and he still managed to cheat on his wife one time. Right. Tiger Woods has all of this opportunity and has like been withholding himself. So when he gets laid, he cheats on his wife and he has sex with all these girls. It's like when you look at like the law of averages versus like the attractiveness and the opportunity of the average plumber versus like Tiger Woods. Well, Tiger Woods is actually more impressive because he's been more self-controlled up to that point, right?
Well, it was like when I think like Brittany Renner, she went on Shannon Sharp's podcast and she was like, why do I get all this slack? I remember when like Derek Jeter was dating all these girls, they like created like on ESPN, they created like a tier list of all the women he had been with and like a chart, and he was like glorified for it. But I'm like, he's Derek Jeter. Like, do you know what you have to be Derek Jeter? Do you know how good you have to be? Do you know how good you have to be at baseball to be Derek Jeter? You didn't have to be anything. You just had to exist.
Yeah.
That's why it's impressive.
And the difference is she basically wrote a book on how to do exactly what she did. So, she broadcast it to everybody. So, but
I saw her the other day at EBC.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
God.
I saw her. Yeah. At some table with some
rich
black dude.
She ruined Pearl. I was glad. I was happy. Thank you, Brittany Renner, for ruining Pearl. Yeah. Brittany Renner's bipolar. I wish people would like.
I think Brittany Renner is a narcissist.
Oh, she is, but she's definitely bipolar because she's manic. She has manic and depressive states.
It's very sad because I know Mike's a Mavericks fan, so PJ Washington, he plays for the Mavericks.
Yeah,
now. This guy's like an all-star defender. Had to like say what you want about like an NBA player, but like they have to work to get to this level. Like they put in work to get there. And like the fact like this guy could be all these things and this bitch has more airtime on Shannon Sharp's podcast than he does. And he's an actual good player.
Yeah.
It's crazy how that works.
Yeah. It's like free clout. Oh, here we go. Are alphas and betas mostly genetically made? No. I would disagree with that.
I think alphas and betas are contextual.
Alpha and beta is alpha is a mindset. It's not a demographic. Okay. So
do you think so?
Yeah, and I'll tell you why, because they're and you're right about the contextual side of things. So like when people say alpha male, they think of like Andrew Tate, right?
Yeah.
So what is an alpha male at the most extreme end of the spec? I think it's on a spectrum, right? So at the most extreme, like most ridiculously absurd level, you got Andrew Tate, right? He's this dude draped across supercars out in the Sea of Oman with bikini models and everything else, right? Or Dan Bilzerian, okay, Dan lives the life, and we're all both friends with Dan, so it's like no flame. But like when people see that image, they think of how ridiculous, how over the top, he's so macho, blah blah blah. But the thing is he's alpha, but so is the guy who is the only dude in his fishing village on the coast of Chile with a pickup truck because he has a pickup truck and nobody else does, right? Or he's the guy who is the leader of the community, or he's the guy who's the most muscular dude in the village, right? So if that's your whole little, if that's your locale, if that's your local, he's not alpha. We take him and put him in Miami. He's washing dishes somewhere, right? Put him back in the fishing village in Chile, and now he's a fucking alpha of that village, right? So again, it's a mindset. It's not a demographic. So for instance, we were just talking about that.
But if you have an alpha mindset in a place where the context is not in your favor, what does that even do for you?
Well, you either excel within the conditions and the environment that you're in, or you leave that environment.
You're saying the mindset has to come first.
Mindset has to come first. Yeah. Yes, you have to. There has to be an attitude, and that, by the way, that's what we crush out of most. People say, "Oh, we're feminizing our kids today in school." Yeah, we are, because the point is to crush the innate natural alpha out of that child, before he's 6 or 7 years old. And the way we do that is we teach boys to think about other people before themselves. We take away mental point of origin, which is innate and natural to most. People like want to call it being selfish and like, oh, little kids are little selfish pricks. Yeah, they are, because they're born that way, and they still need to learn self-control, and you have to guide a child. I understand that 100%. The thing is we do more than that. We will encourage our girls to leadership. We'll encourage our girls to, you can do anything. You can be an astronaut. You can do all that stuff. We don't do that with guys. I think it was Rich Cooper who said the best is that we tell our boys to do the right thing, and we tell women to do what's right for them. From the time they're 5 years old. And by the way, you know psychology. Yeah. So child psychology, when is the age that a child is a sponge, is the most receptive to everything? It's around
about like 4 to 10.
Yeah. 5 years old. Yeah. That's why we start teaching them in preschool and kindergarten right around those ages, right? So, and we've had those conversations with me and Mike about like whether it's a 4-year-old knows whether it's a boy or a girl, right? Which is ludicrous, because children don't think in abstract terms back then. They don't even know if mac and cheese is the little dinosaur mac and cheese or the little shells and cheese, right? And if it's a dinosaur, then everything else is not fucking mac and cheese, right?
Yeah.
If that's the depth and breadth of their fucking abstract thinking, you honestly think they can think of that? Like they're going to decide whether they want to be a boy or a girl for the rest of their fucking life. Get the fuck out of here. So I hated it when this started to sort of pick up steam. I was writing about this as far back as like 2015. And like I remember when they were saying that there was some sort of studies that say, well, children of 4 or 5 or something like that know whether they want to be a boy or a girl for the rest of their lives. I'm like, that is some horse shit. And anybody in the APA that's pushing that out there right now, you deserve to be disbarred or whatever it is that they do to you, disqualified for serving in that organization, because you should know. It's child psychology 101. Children don't think in abstract terms until they're like in their late teens, early 20s, really.
I have a funny story on that actually. So I was actually shocked because when I went back to Harvard, I thought it was just going to be this like liberal woke fucking cesspool. And don't get me wrong, it is like it definitely has those elements to it. But they would see like, so a lot of the guys there. So it's what I call a silent majority, meaning like there's a lot of people who support a movement but don't talk about it publicly. It's like a political term, but there's actually a silent majority of people in like these like academic communities who follow you.
Really?
Yeah. So I do remember. I remember one time I was in.
So suck it, date psych.
Yeah. I remember one time I was, and obviously like you, but like obviously they know Tate, they know Tristan, they know them. But I do remember like this one time, like I was talking to, like these group of guys.
I have a big targeting reticle on my face.
I remember like I was saying like, you know, like I work for this influencer. His name is Michael, and they're like, are you talking about Michael Sartain? I'm like, yeah. They're like, you know,
no, I don't know anyone of that name.
No, I don't know Mike Sartain. And they're like, do you know the Rational Male? I'm like, yeah, I've met him once or twice. Yeah, I definitely know Rollo Tomasi. But there's a lot of people who like behind closed doors, they're like, dude, like if you let your kid transition, you should be shot. Like there's a lot of people who believe this. So I'm optimistic because a lot of people are kind of like the pendulum has swung so far to the left. Now it's like coming right back to the middle. Yeah. And so some good news for the podcast.
Yeah. Well, I kept saying that's why I kept telling Mike, like everybody's like sort of pivoting to like political and social. So even Myron and Fresh, like they're I would say they're probably about 33% red pill and everything else is like politics. It's you know,
because I thought I was going to get flack actually from being affiliated with you, like, and Michael.
And, it's coming. They just don't know it. Yeah.
Like I thought it was going to like get me negative flack, especially with like Harvard faculty. And it's like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Some people have not been happy, but it's been pretty like, no one really cares.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I as I was saying before, in a political, in an election cycle, this is what happens. I've seen this happen twice already. So it happened in 2015, 2016, happened in 2019, 2020. So like in recent memory, like 2019, June of 2019 is when I had all the sort of like dust up with Anthony Johnson, who, by the way, wanted to go political and wanted to lean into like the election cycle and politics. And we're going to be, the dude hasn't taken off his MAGA hat since like 2018. Right? And I think he showers with it. Okay. I mean,
is he the guy who wears like the make women great again hat?
Yeah. And it's just the guy is a pathological liar and just a pathological personality and most definitely functionally autistic.
Yeah.
But that's when all that went down. And of course, for the same reasons, which was they wanted to transition the convention to be more political and social issues, because that's where everything was going. And people don't like Rollo, and we got to dump him off. We got to cut loose the sandbag, right? Kind of thing. And so, and to do that, they have to really dissociate with me. And of course, what happens is everybody who worked with him since like say 2018 are all gone. Every last one of them got fucked by him, or they went through some, they basically found out who he really is. Donovan Sharp, I got an apology from Donovan Sharp for that. I got an apology from John Somnes. I got apologies from like George Bruno.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm big enough a man to say, hey, I know, hey, at least you didn't start a business with him, right? The everybody who has worked with him is basically non-existent, or they haven't. Like people ask me, and I'll clear the air here. Like people say, what is Rollo's beef with Coach Greg Adams? I don't have any beef with Coach Greg Adams whatsoever. I just don't like who he was working with, and that was Anthony Johnson at the time. Now he's probably not working with him anymore because the 21 convention is basically tits up. So
yeah.
So, and a lot of the people who were the ones who have the integrity to admit it, at least they'll admit it, right? But everyone who was involved in that organization back in say the end of June of 2019, they're all gone. They're like I have pictures of them. We mark X's out over the images of the guys who don't have anything to do with them or got fucked over by the guy, and so he's just basically like a non-entity anymore. But that's what happened in 20, and then into 2020. And then I don't know if you remember this, but like when I first went on with Myron and Fresh in I think it was the second or the third time I've been on their show in March of 2021, they asked me, they said, do you think the red pill is going to go mainstream? And I told them, I said, I hope not, because I had just come out of that whole bullshit of an election cycle, and I'm learning some pretty tough lessons as a result of it. And I still have that clip today. I probably could play it right now if I wanted to, but it's basically the reason I gave is because too many people will come into the red pill. They use it as their sort of personal brand, because it's a loose brand is what it is. Like you can, like right now, to be red pill is to be Nick Fuentes, right? To be what is it? Even Pearl, red pill, right? Yeah, exactly. And they're not. They're bad actors, and they're bad representatives of what the praxeology of the red pill. And I was just trying to make that point. And this is, by the way, this is March of 2021. There is no Tate. There is no Pearl. There is no, even Kevin Samuels was a come up at that time. Right? Yeah. And so I'm explaining this.
Did you know Kevin Samuels?
I knew him just briefly, but not like, we were actually, before he passed, we were actually planning, like Myron and Fresh were trying to set up a dual podcast with me and him on
his old stuff. Like when he'd have the women on the live streams were so iconic. Oh yeah, I was like Fresh before Fresh and Fit was like, he was Fresh and Fit before they were Fresh and Fit, but it was so funny. Like you didn't even need to watch the video. It was just the title. It was like baby mama of 3 wants like a high value man. It was so great.
Delusional women. He basically created there's a lot of words in the algorithm that will, in a title that will trigger, right? Usually it's rage quit. That's one. Hell, just go look at the titles of any whatever podcast and you'll probably find one of those adjectives on there. But he was the one who popularized modern women this, right? Or baby mama that kind of thing. Like if you put those in the title back then in like 2021, 2022, that you were sure to get boosted in the impressions in the algorithm at that point.
Yeah.
That was good. I
gotta head out.
You gotta head out. Okay.
In 5. Yeah.
All right, man.
We'll do one more reaction.
Let's do this one real quick. Thank you. Oh, I even have this. I would even go further. Try to stay in the pink zone and lean into the yellow zone to use dread game. Thank you. Yes.
I love that.
In case you're wondering what he's talking about, this is it. Let's see. Thanks for that. That was great, man. This is the next one. If a woman puts out for Chad, stop using stupid names like Chad, please. Is it transactional? No. It's validational. She wants good DNA, sexy sons, and the attention of a hot guy. In return, she gives him pleasure. So it's not transactional. Okay, so you need to, marriage causes divorce. That's what your name is. You need to, I know, right? I actually have a pretty seminal post on this. It's called Transactional versus Validational Sex. So transactional sex is, prostitution. That's in its purest form is prostitution. So when guys are saying, well, should I buy a prostitute? Should I get into escorts? Like, I've never said yes or no to that. I just break down the mechanics of it. Like, why? First of all, why are you asking? Are you in such a crushing dry spell that you're thinking of this as an option? Or, for instance, like when people say, Rolo, what is an incel? There's no such thing as an incel. It is 2024. If you can't get laid in 2024, it's because you don't want to get laid in 2024. So if you want to come to Las Vegas, come to Reno, wherever, I will bring $500 with you, and I will guarantee you will get laid. I guarantee you will no longer be involuntarily celibate.
Yeah.
It's because you want to be celibate. You want that connect. That's all. Of course, it goes in my conversation with Zuby about like why OnlyFans is popular, right? Well, can't they just stroke off to Pornhub for free? Yeah, of course they can, but that's not why they're invested in OnlyFans. Is because it's sexual, yes, but it's also the fantasy that somebody on the other side of the fucking screen actually gives 2 shits about them. That's what they're selling.
Yeah,
they're selling. Yeah, sure. Do what I tell you to. Here's some more. I'm gonna make it rain for you, or here I'll give you some tips, right? But it's what I call engagement media. What we're doing right now is engagement media. Like we have I'm looking at the chat right now. We can respond to stuff. People in the chat, if they want to super chat in, or hell, they don't even have to. I can go in and just say, okay, so and so, you had a good take. We're going to talk about that. People feel like they can direct the narrative. They've like if you give me $100 super chat and I will talk about it, whatever you want to fucking talk about right now, because we'll change that. We'll stop the conversation. We'll talk about what you want to talk about. So people have the power to become part of the show. It breaks down the fourth wall.
Yeah.
Right? And so the same thing happens in OnlyFans. It's also a form of engagement media. So if you're watching your favorite girl, beating off on whatever, you say, okay, go get the cucumber, right? Oh, here's $400. Go get the cucumber, right? So they the scroller, yeah. Okay, there you go. All right. Thanks. Yes, that's a score. Well, we might as well mention them all at tris.com. What is the other one? Skip the games. Yes, we support our. We're in Las Vegas. We have to support our local escorts.
Yeah, we have to support small businesses.
Yeah, support small businesses. We support single mothers.
Hilarious.
Yeah. So, but yeah, but they can engage in the narrative, right? Well, that's basically what OnlyFans is. You don't engage in the narrative if you're struck off the porn. You just watch a porn movie and that's it. But the people want to feel like they're in some way involved. And usually it's because they want to feel like there's somebody else out there that asks them about their day before they rub one out. I don't know.
100%.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Last thing, just do one more shout out.
Sure.
So guys, if you want to attend the Reignite Mastermind, DM Rolo directly.
Yes, please.
DM him the word Reignite, and yeah, we'll get back to you.
Yeah, and again, remember, it's just that you got a very limited time. When are we closing?
Tomorrow at midnight.
Tomorrow at midnight.
Tomorrow
Okay.
at midnight. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry to give you the hard sale, but we kind of got started too late.
Yeah.
But I promise you, the next time we do this, which will probably be we'll have a September event for sure. We'll give you much more advanced notice for that one. So
cool.
Thank you.
Awesome, dude. Thank you,
Brother,
man. Till next show.
See ya. Ladies and gentlemen, Tristan Darshan. So, okay, now we can get back to our regularly scheduled program. What do we got here? I have something else. Okay. Well, I wanted to point out a few other things here real quickly as Kyle resets the entire studio for me. I want to throw this one back up here for you guys just real quick. So, there's a lot going on here. There's a lot to unpack with this. My boyfriend and I are both 28 years old. Okay, so the 28 years old part right there is pretty telling. Like, if I ever do a one-on-one with you, or if you like hit me up on Connect, by the way, please do. If you want to if you have like quick hit questions, or you want to super chat me and the show's not on, just go to Connect. It's the second. I think it's the second or the third link down on the description there. Connect is really great. And by the way, I'm kind of in competition with some of the other guys from Valuetainment right now on Connect. So by the way, if you get me on Connect, please give me a good positive review too, because that really helps my rankings with those guys. If you know anything, if you know what I'm talking about. Wandering Warrior, can the red-pilled Gen X conservative libertarians who are not tradcons, Jesus Christ, dude, help save the millennial Zoomer mint? Why would I want to? Horns up. There you go. Enjoy all that remains. Yes. Phil, I should have made that announcement at the very beginning. I'm going to have, if I can work it out, I'm still working out the details for this, but if I can get him in, I'm going to get Phil Labonte from All That Remains. He is the lead singer for All That Remains. Yeah, and he's already telling me he's going to get me backstage at the Megadeth, and they're opening for Megadeth. They're on tour. Mudvayne, All That Remains, and Megadeth are touring together. But Phil's a really good dude. I met him. I've known Phil for a while, but I actually met him in person, like face to face, when I went and did Tim Pool's show back in March. And he actually, it was funny because Phil played for me the demos. I wasn't supposed to talk about it. I can now because it's already released, but like he played me the demos of the new songs that are on the new albums that they have right now. And it's just like, I was like, I know this is going to be some good shit. So if I can get Phil in here, my other hope is this. No guarantees. My other hope is this: is Phil works out. Like Phil's almost. I think he's about my age. I think he's like in his mid 50s. I'm pretty sure. Right now. And he's still built. He's like maybe not as built as me, but like he's still pretty. He can lift. And so Phil, if you're watching this, I want to take you to Powerhouse, and I want to introduce you to Hide Yamagishi and my friend Alvaro Pena, bodybuilder.
He's 49.
49. Okay. So he's up there. All right. But he lifts. And matter of fact, if you follow him on Twitter right now, it's like nothing but like concert pics and videos and stuff interspersed between like him at like Planet Fitness in like Portland, Oregon. because he's on the road. He can't really pick where he's gonna go live. Yeah, you are correct. He's also a staunch anti-communist. He is also a when he's not on a tour with Megadeth, he's a semi-regular on the Tim Pool show as well. He's just a really good, all-around really good dude. What's this? That Reddit post is like saying your dick is perfect, but the big ones hurt. Yes, I know that somebody put that in there as well in the thing. Just to get back to your question here, can we save the track? No. Why would we? Should I go full cappy on you? Maybe that's what I should do. Yeah. So as far as where'd it go? As far as the hotness here, I'm actually thinking, I hope you guys are liking the new short form stuff I'm doing. Like Kyle and I are coming in here and like knocking them out 3 at a time, and then just sort of interspersing them throughout the week. And they seem to be pretty popular. They're not increasing my subs by any means because of diverting hate NGO and the DHS, who are still monitoring me. But anyways, I might do this as a topic for one of my standalones, which I'm trying to do anywhere between like say 10 minutes and 30 minutes. So, oh yeah. What's the title? Tristan Darshan. Yeah. Please. By the way, go check out Tristan's channel. But I'm going to be on your channel pretty soon. So yeah. So I'll be on there. So anyways, back to this thing here. 28 years old. Together for 2.5 years. So what that means is they've been together since they were 25 and a half, somewhere around there. Yesterday night we were drinking, blah, blah, blah. It's not somebody I would hook up with, but I would be friends with them. Now, the thing, the bigger picture here is first of all, she's in the Epiphany phase. So I think that should be confirmation number one. Confirmation number two is we're also looking at dual mating. Okay. So we're looking at a woman who is recognizing the difference between men that would make good fuck buddies and men that would make a good husband. This is the cads versus dads dynamic, I guess. Now, the reason why I'm even bringing this up is because about 3 weeks ago, on my Substack, which you should subscribe to, the link again is in the description. But the title of it wasn't the topic anyways was, well, I've talked about dual mating versus mate switching. That was one of the more recent ones, but the one where we're looking at this dynamic right here and the separation between those two. Now, if you were to take just the yellow and the blue and just sort of separate those two, that would really, I think, be a bit more accurate. And I think on some level of consciousness, all women understand that there is that division between those two. And this is what I've been trying to say for the longest time, is that women aren't necessarily looking for the same guy in the same place at the same time for the same reason. And so I think what happens is, and I'm not saying women, again, I have to be very careful with my words here, because I think people think that just by pointing this out, just by reading this, just by the fact that this has gone viral, that guys they're all butthurt, right? Everybody is pissed off. All these men are so pissed off that they don't realize this. I'm like, no, they don't, because we've been jerking ourselves off to this stupid fucking mate switching hypothesis since at least 2017, 2018, when I was pointing this shit out, right? Oh, well, it's not about dual mating. No, it fucking is about dual mating. Oh, it is? You're saying that women's stated preferences are not actually what their revealed preferences are. Imagine that. Seems to me like dual mating resolves all of this once again. That's why I kept saying is we don't need mate switching hypothesis when you already have dual mating, because it encompasses mate switching. So if you're looking at just here's a better idea. If you look at the yellow side of this Venn diagram and you look at the blue side, the yellow side is the alpha fuck side. The blue side is the beta buck side. Are there guys who can actually who are the complete package, who can also, be the guy that women want to fuck and also the cads versus the dads? Does that actually exist? I think so. It possibly could happen, but you know what? It's never going to happen for this chick, and it's never going to happen for most women, because they don't see the pink part. In fact, they're not even looking for the pink part. They're not even looking for the men that are both. They're only looking for one or the other at any given time in their life cycle, which I pointed out in 2015 in The Rational Male Preventative Medicine. Go get it on Amazon, still available now until the DHS finds it, right? Go get it before they burn it, right? I've been saying, like, even this shit, look, I haven't used the right colors almost. Right? So when a woman gets to be about that 30 years old, guess what she's looking for? She's looking for the blue guy in the blue side. What's she looking for when she's at the top of her game, at her peak, or peak potential there at 23? She's looking for the guy who's in the yellows, the guy in finance, 6'5", blue eyes, trust fund, fuck me. That's what she's looking for. Jesus, it's not fucking brain science. It's not fucking brain surgery, man. And everybody wants to turn it. Oh, that roller doesn't know what he's talking about. I don't have to know what I'm talking about. All I got is fucking trust fund chick. I got the chick that was just telling us a minute ago that there's 3 different types of guys. I'm trying to point that out. Here are the 3 different. Here, wait, let's get back to the topic at hand. Right? These are the 3 different types of guys right here. That's 3 different types of guys. Okay. There's the guy, which is you. No chick, hands between your legs, you got a beer. That's you, okay? Then there's fucking playa in the middle there, got 3 bitches, and they're all smiling. They all want to get with him. And he's got a big shit-eating grin on his face. It looks like the secret of my success in the 80s, like Michael J. Fox. Yeah. And then you got the one dude who's got his arm barred across the chest, mate guarding position. And the chick is just kind of like, thanks. And he's right there. That's you. That's the dude who's in the blue, by the way. It's funny. It's like we could relate that to the color Venn diagram there as well. The guy that you want to be is a dude in the middle, man. And even if you're the guy who's getting married, you want that chick to say, you know what, you were such an incorrigible player, but I'm so glad I got you. I'm so glad I locked you down. Blah blah. Give him the compliment of saying, yes, there's other chicks that want to fuck you, right? An alpha male, as I was asked before, a high-value man, if we're going to put it in modern terms, is would you like to know what it is? Here, because people say, you never said this before. I've said this so many fucking times, my fucking eyes are fucking popping out of my head. A high-value man is the guy that other men want to be and other women want to fuck. That's basically it. However you contextualize that, however you want to, if it's a fishing village in Chile or if it's Andrew Tate and fucking draped across a Lamborghini in Brickell, the same thing applies. Is he the guy that other men want to be? And is he the guy that other women want to fuck? That's what it boils down to. And guess what? This dude in the middle is the guy that other women want to fuck and other men want to be. It's funny because I was reminded of this shot when I was going back over that one video of the chick who was saying, there's the invisible guys, there's the 20%er guys who are just like, and then there's the guys who are always going to get it, right? The guy in the middle is the guy who's always going to get it. The guy you don't want to be is the dude on the far left. That guy right there doesn't know what he wants to be, where he is, or what he's doing. As much as trad cons want to tell you, oh yeah, he's responsible. Responsible means doing whatever fucking chicks tell you. That's what it is. In the trad con world, do whatever this bitch tells you. Your life is to make her happy. So as I said before, ladies, if he's not good enough to be a fuck buddy, he's not good enough to be a fucking husband as well. Like, ladies, this is what you're really after. You're after the dude who is in the middle, the men that are both. You want to know why he's insulted? It's because it's funny. It would be more of a compliment if she said, you know what, you're actually kind of like the fuck buddies that I had in the past. That would have been like, would it have been a huge compliment? Whatever, I don't know. But the thing is, it's better than saying you're never going to be like those guys and then presuming the person. I'm not saying she didn't actually mean it. She did probably sincerely mean it as a compliment. She thought she was being nice. She thought she was like, really what she's doing, she's trying to prompt him to ask her to marry him. That's what that was about. Women don't have this conversation just fucking randomly. Okay. Remember, yesterday night we were drinking and one thing led to another. Yeah, they probably fucked. And then after they fucked, and I tried to compliment him by saying he's not someone who I would hook up with or be a friends with benefit, as if that's a compliment. You gave your pussy to a friends with benefit and he gave it to the hookup guy. He didn't have to be nice. He did that guy didn't have to have any boyfriend qualities. That guy didn't have to have any kind of like, he didn't have to like puppy dogs and rainbows and fucking ice cream with fucking sprinkles on it. He didn't have to, he's not the guy you wanted to introduce to your parents. This guy is, right? The reason why that's an insult is because that guy fucks and you don't fuck. And what she's saying is, you really aren't like a guy I would be used to having sex with. I'm used to having sex with guys who fuck, but you're really not like that. And I'm so glad, because I really need a guy like that at 28, because my clock is ticking and I need to get married before I'm 30, which is the average age of first marriage. Ladies, this is why it's a fucking insult. I'm telling you, like people Rollo doesn't do any shows for women. No, I'm giving you this free of charge. You don't have to buy a book or nothing, man. I'm giving this shit to you for like free knowledge, right? Don't do this. Men know this. You want to know, Kyle, you want to know why like feminists hate me so much, or actually just average, even tradcon women hate me so much.
Why?
Or they want to say, those red pill guys are just the flip side of feminism. They want to find anything they want. You know why they hate me? Because I reveal shit like this to enough guys and they go, you know what? I'm out.
Call out the bullshit.
Fuck it. I'm out. Right. And the thing is, I'm probably not even the one that educated. Like there's more chicks that are proving this, even the 6'5" blue eyes bullshit, right? That message right there probably has converted enough guys to go, well, I guess that's what bitches are all about, because they keep singing it. It's a catchy tune. It's to G6, right? It's catchy. They know the lyrics. It's easy to remember those lyrics because they're into those lyrics, and it resonates with women. So there must be some truth to it. Or you got the chick who's saying there's 3 different kinds of guys, right? Oh, there must be. She's not in the red pill. She certainly doesn't run in my circle. I didn't even know who she was before like a month ago. Doesn't run in my circles. But I bet you I don't even know what the virality of that video is, but I guess I will guarantee. Or Lauren Chen of all people did a reaction video to the 6'5" blue eyes chick, right? And she's like, oh, I 100% agree with hypergamy, but men are hypergamous too. No, you're not balanced. You're not squaring that fucking circle, Lauren. Only women are fucking hypergamous. Everyone makes comparisons. Human beings in general will make comparisons. Do I want the little worm-eaten apple, or do I want the big, juicy, delicious apple that looks like it's has more survival benefit? We're going to go for the big, juicy apple. Human beings will do that. Apes will do that. Dogs will do that. Horses will do that. Fucking alpha wolves on the Arctic tundra will do that, right? Whatever the bigger, better thing is, it looks like it has more survival value. That's making comparisons. Everyone does that. Human beings, animals do that. That's not hypergamy. Get it through your fucking heads, okay? Hypergamy is only for women. Women are only hypergamous. Why? Because women don't have women have attraction floors, men do not, okay? If a woman is a 7, she doesn't want to fuck a 6. She doesn't want to fuck a 5. Why? Because it is an evolutionary fear. There's a revulsion. There's a revulsion response to the point where guys become invisible because of that revulsion response. They don't even register in that woman's mind. So when Rollo Tomasi starts talking about solipsism, perfect example of what fucking Mike Sartain was saying. Do you see that guy over there? You mean the one past the mailman over there behind there? No, the mailman. That's solipsism. That right there is evidence of fucking solipsism. They don't see anything that doesn't register, that isn't directly like either a threat or is important to them enough to be a survival value or of sexual reproduction value, right? So they don't see the shelf stocker at CVS. They don't see the mailman. They don't see those guys. They're literally invisible. But the guy behind there, the guy with the Lamborghini, you're going to remember his eye color. He's 6'5", blue eyes. He's got a trust fund, right? So you want to, there's the thing that gets me is this, is like, well, Rollo, where's your stats? Where's your fucking hard data and everything? My hard data is this bitch saying there's 3 kinds of guys. My hard data is 6'5" trust fund. My hard data is TikTok. My hard data is fucking this. Like I said, I don't have to do this for this to be out there. You could, like I said, you could take all of the red pill away and it's still fucking here because guys are aware. And that's why this guy up and left. That's why, what do? You just pick up and go? All my friends tell me I messed up. And guys, it's not a compliment. It's not a compliment. I think what's interesting to me is this. And now this gets back to a concept that I covered it's actually in my first book and partially in my second book. It's the idea of what's called open hypergamy. And I feel like I've got to sort of re-explain this just at least to be in the interest of being thorough here. I wrote a post. Actually, Sammy, can you go grab me that post real quick? Open hypergamy, and then it doesn't have to be open cuckoldry, but it has to be open hypergamy. There was I was responding one time to this commercial, and it was for Red Robin restaurants, and the commercial was about this couple that were sitting down at the restaurant and they were eating or something like that, and the chick was talking, and it was all centered on the girl, right? And she was like delivering all the lines, and so one guy who's sitting with her eating, and then another dude comes up, puts his arm out, and then he walks off with the chick, right? And then the other guy is sitting there, he's got to pay the fucking bill, right? And I'm like, that's hypergamy right there, black and white, and we're laughing at it, and we've commercialized it. It's now an open secret. Because prior to the internet and prior to social media and prior to 6ix5ine Trust Fund, right? Prior to the TikTok girls talking about it. There it is. Thank you. Open hypergamy. Will you put that in the chat, please? Thank you. In fact, I'll just read this to you guys. So I wrote this, God, 10 years ago. Holy shit. 10 years ago. Here we go. As I wrote in Controlling Interest, the secrecy previously necessary for hypergamy and women's pluralistic sexual strategy is rapidly being replaced with not just new, overt social openness about it, but flaunting triumphalism about how men are expected to embrace this new openness about it. Let's see. These would be the boys/men who would be taught to naturally defer to authority of women under the auspices of a desire to be an equal partner. Okay, I'll keep going. As in the Red Robin commercial, because I was describing the Red Robin commercial as I just did a minute ago. It's gotten to the point now that the feminine imperative, or gynocentrism, is comfortable in ridiculing men for not already being aware of the alpha fucks, beta bucks dynamics of hypergamy. Remember, I'm writing this 10 years ago, as well as ridiculing them for going along with it. The expectation that men should already know this dynamic and be ready to accept it and to commit himself to it engenders genuine shock when a man deviates from that script, as we're seeing right now, right? Once again, here on this Reddit thing. As we found in the story of Spreadsheet Guy, the guy who made up all these, this Spreadsheet Guy was the guy who took down all of the reasons why he was being rejected, okay? On a spreadsheet, on an Excel spreadsheet. A couple of weeks ago, the anger female commenters expressed over his logging his wife's excuses for turning him down sexually was not due to his actions, but rather those actions represented for the greater whole of men. Women's indignation over this was rooted in a beta man not already being aware of the role he was expected to play. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is because if you'll notice here in the dual mating Venn diagram here, the men in the blue circle are men who should already know that they're dads. The yellow guys probably, these are on the yellow side there. Those are the cads, right? But the problem is that the reason why this woman is so dumbfounded and why all these chicks, and again, this is 10 years later, right? So the chicks who are losing their shit over this story here, the compliment story, the compliment story, right? The reason they're losing their shit is because they think that the guys who are already in the blue circle, they're pissed off because they think that those guys ought to know that they're already in that circle, that they should have already accepted their fate as being the guy, and they should take it as a compliment because now she's had her fun, right? She's had her journey of self-discovery. You're not like the other guys who I fucked in the foam cannon party on spring break and as a co-ed in college. I was so crazy in college, but I turned over a new leaf. I'm going to get right with God. I'm going to make you do it the right way. I'm going to make you jump through all these hoops and prove to me that you have value added. You can protect, provide, provision, and be parentally invested in me and any future children we have, because I really want you to marry me. And you know what? I want it so much, I'm going to try to compliment you and hope to God you know that you're in this category and not in the other category. And you should feel complimented. You should feel in some way honored that I'm giving this to you because I had to go through all of these other, I had to go through all my other fuck buddies to get to the point where I would know that this should be a compliment to you in the first place. Right? Jeez. All right, let me go back to open hypergamy again. Women's indignation over this was rooted in the beta man not already being aware of the role he was expected to play. The new order, the new order feminine groupthink presumes, God, this is 10 years ago, presumes that any guy who follows the old order sociosexual contract should already know he's been cast as a dutiful, providing beta and should feel complimented as such. He follows the prepared script for the guy who responsibly proves he's a quote unquote better man for having forgiven her sexual indiscretions with her prior alphas and accepting the role of being relegated to being her emotional supporter and handholder. And all of this after she's had her self-discovery and know who she really is. Okay. So this is the other part of this. It's called Genies in Bottles. Genies in Bottles. This expectation of men being preconditioned to follow a feminine primary social order is not just limited to women's expectations, though. We've progressed to the point that blue pill men are becoming vocal advocates for the same acceptance of open hypergamy, which, by the way, if you go and you look through the thread of, by the way, everybody's got a bunch of these things. This is not even just the original thread. There's a whole bunch of people who are just like chiming in on this whole thing. Women, of course, are really pissed off, and there's some guys are too, but the thing is like if you look in some of the threads where the quote unquote stereotypical male feminists show up, they're doing exactly what I was saying back then, right? Under the dubious pretense of a concern for the general lack of gallant, chivalrous, and beta buck side provisioning women are entitled to, in spite of women's embrace of open hypergamy, these watered down purple pill dating coaches suffer from the same shock and indignation a woman somewhere might not be given her life's due of having a dutiful beta waiting to fulfill the provisioning side of her sexual strategy when her sexual market value begins to decay in earnest, right? Which is, of course, right around 30 years old for most women, for the average women, okay? In a feminine-centric social order, even men must be strong advocates for open hypergamy and essentially their own proactive cuckoldry. That a woman may be better prepared than most beta men to provide for her own security is never even an afterthought. Their sales pitch is the same old order lie that women will reciprocate intimately for a man's good nature and virtuous respect for the feminine if he'll only accept open hypergamy. So I'll stop it right there. I've got that. You guys can read the rest of that if you like. Thanks for putting that out there for me, Sammy. So to give you another, like this was 10 years ago, and this is when I was noticing the fact that the idea of hypergamy used to be secretive. The women would want to keep the way you would know a gold digger from just the average woman is that the gold digger was open about it. She was the one who was just like, she was giving away the game. You know why other women hate gold diggers? It's not because they're not trying to they wouldn't do it themselves. They would, right? They're looking for the bigger, better deal. It's hypergamy, right? The fact is, the reason why they're pissed off at the gold digger is the gold digger gives away the game. She gives away the secret, right? It's really all about your finances, trust funds, 6-5. Like it's all very mercenary. And the gold digger is the one who's just unapologetically like too openly vocal about it. And women will then lose their minds because they're supposed to keep it a secret for the rest of the gals. Because if they don't, we're not as hot as you. We're not as, we're not as stacked as you. We're not as, affluent as you, right? The reason why gold diggers used to be, and gold digger is kind of like a meaningless term right now because every woman is like this because we live in open hypergamy. At somewhere along the way, and I would argue it was 10 years ago, hypergamy became something of a joke. You'll see evidence of hypergamy. You'll see evidence of dual mating strategy, pluralistic mating strategy on shows like Friends in the mid-90s. We didn't call it that because we couldn't recognize it because we didn't have social media. We didn't have the kind of like the communication and the awareness that we have now. But I would challenge you guys, and if you can suffer through this, right? Go watch old episodes of Frasier. Go watch old episodes of Everybody Loves Raymond. Go watch old episodes of Friends. Go watch old episodes of, trying to think of another good. Anyway, old sitcoms, right? From just say the mid 90s to the late 90s. If you look at those old sitcoms, you will see examples of hypergamy because we're aware of them now. A really great another one. This will ruin the world for them. I'm about to destroy your world here. If you go and watch Mrs. Doubtfire and you realize Robin Williams is playing the lead role in that, Mrs. Doubtfire isn't a comedy. It's a horror story. It's a red pill horror show is what it is. You got a guy who can't get with his kids, and the only way he can get with his kids is to turn himself into a female and to become the caretaker of his kids. It is an absolute fucking catastrophe of a movie. And it's not like in the 21st century, it's a catastrophe of a movie. In the 90s, it was funny as hell. Tootsie with Dustin Hoffman is a catastrophe of a movie because it casts the guy in the role. He's basically in drag the whole time. But the thing is for him to be an effective man, he's got to turn himself into a woman. And the same, like I said, Mrs. Doubtfire is absolutely just horrifying. But that maybe that's just my opinion. So, anyways, the idea here when it comes to open hypergamy, like I said, used to be a very secretive thing. Like women didn't want men to know the game because it gave them more opportunities and more ways to maneuver. And so from the time of, say, like the sexual revolution from the late 60s all the way up through like probably the rise of the internet and like maybe when social media come around, 2006, 2007, right around there, that's the golden era for the gynocentric social order. Was from like 1975 to about 2005. Those were the golden years because everybody was blissfully unaware and we would laugh at it. It was funny. Like I said, you go and you look at you look at episodes of Friends and you look at the difference. Like if you look at the archetypes, the male archetypes in Friends, you got Joey, you got Chandler, and you got Ross. Ross is the simper. He's a simp, right? He is definitely a beta male. He's funny in a way, right? But in no way masculine, in no way, like there is no way on planet Earth, like in the real world, that a chick as choice as fucking Jennifer Aniston gets with Ross, right? Rachel gets with Ross. Doesn't happen in reality. Only happens on TV land. Okay. You got Joey. Joey is the alpha male, but he's a himbo, right? So he's dumb. He's funny being dumb, but he's the himbo. So he's like the opposite of what Ross is. And then you got Chandler in the middle, who's he's kind of happy-go-lucky. He's kind of funny. He's not necessarily, I would classify him as almost borderline being a gamma, but he's like the confused guy. Like he doesn't know. He in some ways, he's kind of like the better version of between both Ross and he's like the in-between guy. He's not quite as masculine as like the himbo that is Joey, but he's not a simpering piece of shit like Ross is. So it's interesting to see those archetypes in that, like people just, maybe they just sort of subconsciously knew about. That's why they would write those archetypes into those characters. So it was very interesting is like, if you, especially going back with like red pill knowledge to sort of look at old, like I've been watching Seinfeld recently and it's kind of funny, but like even in comedies like that, you can still see the archetypes that are present. God forbid you go and watch like Frasier, right? Oh Lord.
Everybody loves Raymond.
Everybody loves Raymond. That was a shit show. That was a shit show from the rip, man. I'm happy to say I think I probably watched 4 episodes of that show in my lifetime. So, but the idea is this is like prior to say like 2005-ish, women wanted to keep hypergamy under wraps. They didn't want anybody to know about it. And you know why they didn't? Because of this. Because when a cat comes out of the bag, it's like, he left the house. He leaves the house. He says he needs space to think and he leaves the house. Right. And she messes it up and she's panicking right now because she's still living in TV land. She's still living. This is the difference. I keep telling you guys, this is the difference between like the 20th century expectations for love and marriage versus 21st century reality of men being aware of this shit. You know why fucking feminists hate me? You know why like tradfem women hate me? Because I give away the fucking game. I educate guys like this dude, like this motherfucker right here. Oh my gosh, it must be those red pill guys who did this. Who convinced him that it shouldn't be a compliment. No, he's aware. He's awake. We got a live one.
Single moms hate this information for these simple 3 tricks.
Yeah.
It's that information.
These simple 3 No, because what happens is like if here I'll give you the timeline. We'll play the timeline out here one more time. If you go and you look here, like the party years, or what is also colloquially known as the hoe phase, is usually from about like 18 until about 28 years old, which, by the way, happens to be where our good girl is stuck at 28 years old, smack at 28 years old, right on time, right on schedule. But the problem is she met a guy who was educated. She met one. That's like, remember in is it They Live? Remember with Roddy Piper?
Yeah.
Roddy Piper? Yeah, in They Live. Like when you put the glasses on, you're like, we got one that can see. This is one that can see. So they got a dog pile on him, all of a sudden. Right? We got one that can see. That's what I should do. I should, if I do like a short form video of this during the week, the thumbnail's going to be from They Live.
Just the newspaper.
Yes.
With all the ads.
Yes. God, that's funny. So anyways, so then you've got the Epiphany phase, which starts right around 28. And then sometimes it can travel as far as like 30 or 31, but then there's the transition phase. Okay. The transition phase, by the way, there's 2 separate phases to the Epiphany phase. There's Epiphany and then there's the transition. Okay. The Epiphany is, holy shit, I better find a guy. Holy shit, I'm not getting any younger. Holy shit, my biological clock is ticking and I need to find a guy. Any guy will do. I got to find a dude who I can have babies with, right? Not because society said I had to, not because mom said she wants to be a grandma, but because women have a maternal instinct. I hate it when people like throw this, like women in particular, throw this bullshit out there like, oh, there's this culture of having children, a culture of marriage, and a culture of this and a culture of that. I'm like, no, there's this thing called a maternal instinct. It's like usually happens when like your eggs start like becoming fewer and fewer, it's a biochemical thing, right? But so when we're looking at like say the Epiphany phase to the transition phase, that's basically where this chick is right now. She's just getting into the Epiphany phase. The Epiphany phase is I better do the right thing. I want to get right with God. They start going back to church. I want to start reconnecting with my church friends. I want to start, I'm focusing more on family. I'm looking at the broader picture. I'm done with I was so crazy in my college. You hear any of these colloquialisms, right? I was so crazy in college, but I'm done. You'll see these in dating profiles. I've had my fun. Now it's time to get serious. Just in time for you, because you've been just waiting you, Mr. Blue Circle guy. No fun for you. You've got to get serious with this girl. And what they're doing is they're hoping against hope that they find a guy in the transition phase or maybe even the early Epiphany phase there. They're hoping that they're going to find a guy who can't see. Who can't, we got one that can see. They're trying to find a guy who's not awake. They're trying to find a guy who's not red pill aware, who doesn't understand, oh, I don't know, this whole fucking timeline, right? Or maybe something like this, or even this. Like this is basic, okay? So
Like
what they're hoping for is,
What's like Tony's wife, Polly, was it called his mom in the show? Like was going through her hoe phase and had a child. Then she just became a nun.
Yeah. Yes. That's good. Yeah. Now she wants to get right with God, right? Or now she wants to do the right thing. And usually do the right thing is find a guy who's still dumb, who still does not, he's a good player. He's a good dad. He's in the blue, definitely in the blue side of the circle here. It'd be great if he was in the pink, but the blue guy is what's going to happen. Now, the thing is, the reason why I wrote this, and if you've ever read, I highly suggest, if you're interested in this topic, you pick up my second book. It's it's the Rational Male Preventative Medicine. And basically the entire book is written based on that timeline and what you can expect at different phases of women's maturity. Right? So during this time is usually when women are transitioning out of the hoe phase and then into the sort of long-term security phase. That's why I keep saying if you look at this right here, from say like 18 to 28 in a lifetime that, I hope women live a very long life, but let's just say a woman lives to be about 90 years old. You're talking about 10 years in 90 years where a woman has that's the window of opportunity to consolidate on a guy for a lifetime, to consolidate on long-term security. So, but the problem is in modern society, in a post-sexual revolution society, during that hoe phase right there, used to be women would just find a guy, and then the average age of first marriage in the 60s and the 70s was something like 22. So it was much easier to but it was much, I have to say, it was more urgent, I think, for women to want to have kids earlier and want to be married earlier back then. Now, the average age of first marriage for women in the United States is 30 years old and 31 or 32 for men, I believe. So, and primarily because you want to know why it's 31 and 32 for men? Because because the average age of first marriage for women is 30. Women have to want to marry a guy, and usually they're marrying a guy that is anywhere between 3 to 7 years older than they are. So it stands to reason that the guy would be about 32, maybe 33 as average age of first marriage, right? So it's like when I hate it, and people are gonna throw rocks at me for this. I am sick and fucking tired of listening to people say that, oh, women are the gatekeepers of sex and men are the gatekeepers of commitment. Bullshit. Women are the gatekeepers of both. Because if a woman, you go read Briffelt's Law and you'll understand exactly what I'm fucking talking about here. No commitment, no fucking relationship, nothing happens unless that woman decides that it happens. How do we know that? Well, a good indicator is average age of first marriage for women is 30 and average age for men is 32, because they tend to date and marry older. Understood? So when people say, "Oh, men hold the keys to commitment," no, they don't. And increasingly, they don't care. They don't hold it. By the way, I'm not the only person who has brought this up. Roosh brought this up way back in the day, like as far back as like 2012. Women are the gatekeepers of both sex and commitment. Okay, because they're not going to commit to a guy that they don't want to commit to. Why would they? Why would they? Their social power is preeminent right now. They can fuck who they want well into their later ages. So there's the sex aspect of it too. But like, oh well, men hold the keys to commitment. Yeah, some of them might, the ones that women would want to get committed to in the first place, but unless it's a really fucking stellar, value added deal, women hold the keys to both of those. I hate to burst that bubble, but because a lot of people are really fucking invested in that. I think probably me, and probably one of the few. I don't know. I've agreed with Roosh on fair occasions, but yeah. Let me look at these real quick. Duke, is a woman in her epiphany phase one who pivots to find you attractive because you now fit her new reality? Yes, good observation. Is that now genuine attraction, or is she just cashing in her chips? Both. I'll tell you what. Because I got to go back to the banner here again. Okay, here we go. So during the epiphany phase, one funny thing happens during the epiphany phase in the transition phase here is that women's priorities for what they find attractive and what they find arousing shift. Okay. In fact, if you look at the gray lines here where it says physicality, status, affluence, and provisioning right there, affluence and provisioning really don't come into their own until that phase, until epiphany and the epiphany phase and the transition phase, unless the guy is such a stellar deal, like a once in a lifetime opportunity. Usually this happens right around 28, 29 years old. Status makes a difference to women like right around 24, 25. Okay. Now remember, the peak sexual market value peak potential is at 23. So 25 is when status starts to make a difference. Now, status is not that important to women who are like, say, 15, 16, 17, 18 years old. Like if you got a high school girl, she cares about how hot the fucking quarterback is on the football team. She doesn't care that guy has money or the potential to go to, become a Heisman Trophy winner in college. She doesn't know that. She doesn't care about that. She's just looking at the physical. And physicality really spreads across from the time a woman hits puberty till the day she dies almost. Then you're looking at alpha short term. On the top there's the alpha short term, then there's the beta long term, and then there's the alpha reinterest phases. So what we need to look at though is the gray lines on the bottom here, which is status and affluence there, affluence and provisioning. Because affluence and provisioning has everything to do with the guys that are in the blue side of this circle. Okay, guys that would make a good husband are the guys who have status and affluence. If they have physicality, then guess what? You're in the pink zone right there. You're the rare animal that's in the pink zone. The problem is most guys who are really very good looking are the ones that she was just talking about. Those are the fuck boys. Those are the guys who are the friends with benefits. Those are the guys who, let's see, friends with benefits, hookup culture, hookup guy, right? The 4.5 percenters, as I was saying, according to our girlfriend in the video, right? There's the 20 percenters, the 80 percenters, and the 4.5 percenters. The 4.5 percenters are going to be physically more impressive. That guy is the guy that she wants to fuck, regardless of whether he has status, affluence, or anything else. If that guy's hot enough and he can carry on a conversation for a half an hour, she's going to want to fuck that guy. Okay, period. Full stop. Now, most of us aren't that guy. So what do we have to do? We have to we have to be physically attractive, but we also have to have value added. That's where the guys who are like the top players in the 20%, that's where those guys are. That's the guy who's inching over into the pink right there. The guy who's in the 4.5%, that's the guy who makes a good fuck buddy. Okay. So just throwing that out there for you. So getting back to it here. If we're looking at status and affluence and provisioning, yes, to answer your question, what happens is if a woman is, say, 18 to, say, 25-ish, physicality, looking for the fuck boy, looking for the guy who's yoked, makes me laugh, and other women want to fuck him and other guys want to be him. I can't lock him down because he's a bad boy, because women simply there's only one of him to go around, and there's a lot of women that he wants to fuck. That's why he's a fuck boy. That's why he's friends with benefits. That's why he's one night stand guy, right? That you thought was such a compliment to tell the other dude. Right? So you've got that the physicality is way up here. Then we get to 28, and guess what? I'm kind of needing a guy with benefits. The guys who are fun to fuck, they don't actually have too many jobs, or the ones that do don't want to fuck me anymore. But the guy who is like the really hot guy in the foam cannon party, if he's unemployed, she'll still fuck him, but she can't see a future with that guy. So what happens is the guy who has affluence and status starts to inch his way up. So if she can find a guy who is just as equally exciting and fun in bed as the hot guy, and he also has he's gainfully employed, that guy is probably going to outdo the other dude. Okay. And again, but the problem with this is nature plays a very dirty trick on us. So as that woman gets to be, say, like 29, 30, 31 years old, now provisioning, like if there's, we talk about the laundry list of prerequisites that women have for men. Like he's got to have a job. He's got to love his mom. He's got to like puppy dogs. He's got to be funny. He's got to want kids, provisioning, protection, parental investment. He's got to have all these other sort of value-added qualities, but I still want him to be hot. I still want him to want to fuck him. But now that I'm 31, I'm willing to place some of those qualities above hotness. And the reason for that is because as a woman hits 30, her hotness goes down. So what happens is when you're in, what does a woman need more of? During that time, she needs more security. She needs assurances of long-term security. If she can't get it from guys, she will get it for herself. She'll get it through education. She'll get it through her own business. She'll get it through her own prideful hubris. She'll get it through ego. She'll get it through whatever it takes for her to provide her, like to provide her own long-term security of provision, protection, and parental investment. If you want to know why women don't trust men today, it's because of those three articles. I can't trust a man for protection, provisioning, or parental investment. Therefore, I have to do it myself by going to college, by getting a job, by making more money, by doing OnlyFans, by doing whatever it is that I've got to do. Well, girls got to do what a girl's got to do, right? To stay alive, right? Well, if she's already taken care of all of those aspects of the beta, but if she is the guy, the men that would make a good husband. Remember what Gloria Steinem said. Women are becoming the men that they want to marry. That's this guy. That's the guy in the blue. So not only is it an insult to this guy to not be that guy, it's also an insult because that's the person that a woman wants to marry, but he's superfluous because women can get it for themselves if they really wanted to. If they spend enough time in college and they make enough money and they have that much, self-pride and hubris about themselves. So you're still superfluous. You're basically what the insult comes from the fact that you're really kind of superfluous. So the other part of this is if you've got provision, protection, parental investment, that's the long-term security. As I was saying, if you look at the rest of the timeline here, and I only took it up to 50, but if you took up to 70 or took it to like 80, right? That woman needs security. In fact, I even called it the security phase right after. She wants security well into the rest of her life. Why? Because she knows she will never be as attractive as she was when she was in her prime at 23 years old. And again, the joke is they call the store Forever 21, not Forever 41, because when women are 21, 22, 23, they understand that that's the peak of their sexuality, their peak agency, their peak of their physique, their sexual availability, their youth, their beauty, their fertility. Very, very simple concept. Women understand this. Men understand this too. You know why? Because we have been dealing with open hypergamy at least since 10 years ago when I wrote the first article, as I just read for you. So when we're looking at open hypergamy and we're looking at the collateral damage here 10 years later with this chick, you're looking really at a girl who is trying to prioritize or thinks that the guy that she's with can appreciate her new prioritization of what she's looking for in a guy, right? I would never, you're so different from all the guys I used to fuck in the foam cannon party in Cancun. And you should like that, Mr. Blue Pill Beta, because that means I choose you. And the problem is her sexuality that she was unreserved and complete hot, foam cannon party monkey sex when she was 23 is not what she's going to ever give to the guy who's not as exciting and not as fun, and that she's still pining for the guys who are friends with benefits, guys who are their hookups. Hookups is just a nice, friendly way of saying short-term sexual alpha fucks. Sorry, date psych. I know it's not a conventional psychological term, but that's an abstraction we use in the red pill. Just it's like I said, it's a placeholder. So when we're looking at alpha fucks and beta bucks, we're looking at the yellow side here is alpha fucks, the blue side, the blue pill side. The blue side is the beta buck side. Now, neither one of those are necessarily good or bad. It just depends on the context. Okay. Where you really want to be is in that pink zone right there, the men that are both. Ideally, at least this is me spitballing. I want to say this may or may not be your situation. Or I think somebody in the chat was saying you need to be in, you need to be in the pink side, but more towards the yellow side than the blue side. And I would definitely agree with that. So when people ask me this, I say, Rollo, man, I see you with all these girls, I see you with these porn stars, I see you with these FHM models, I see you like you're going to bikini contests. You're going to go to what in only heels or heels? No. Oh, heels only. I'm not going to that, but black tape I am going to go to. But and you're married. You know why? Because I'm in the pink zone here and I'm leaning more towards the yellow zone. And if you can get to that sweet spot right there, then this becomes less and less of that. That's when women don't say, oh, you're basically what she's saying is you're in the blue zone here. If a woman tells you overtly you're in the blue zone, eject. You're done. Bye. Because what it means is you're going to be one of the guys that is in I have another post, a very seminal post, which I think I might drag out for like the actual video of this, the short form video of this. I have a post called Saving the Best. And this is, I will end with this. Actually, Sam, can you grab Saving the Best for me? It's probably Saving the Best is in, it's an essay I wrote. I think it was probably about 10 years ago as well. And you guys want to get some juices flowing and you guys want some angst and some like real adrenaline running, you read this article. Saving the Best is basically a guy, and now this is old school, but the Saving the Best article is about a guy whose wife was kind of a cold fish. She was kind of frigid in bed. And then the guy, through whatever happenstance, comes across an old videotape of her or something where she made amateur porn when she was in, oh, you got it, thank you, making amateur porn in their college years. And I mean, like 3 ways, like 4 ways, like her with like 2 and 3 guys, right? And doing shit that he had tried to do with his wife, in bed, but she was very reluctant to do it. And if she would do it at all, she wouldn't even consider it, like we'll barely give you a blowjob kind of thing. But she's, in fact, the quote in that article in Saving the Best, sort of the money shot, not to put too sharp a point on it, was he said to her, he says, I married a prude who fucks like a whore, or married a whore who fucks like a prude. And does he have, okay, Saving the Best. There it is. Thank you for that. And sometimes it's a little hard to find these. Okay, I'm just going to read you the situation here because this is really, really interesting. Oh, we pulled this off the Red Pill Reddit. Oh, God, this is 11 years ago. Okay, so I'm just going to read you the situation. The guy says this. I posted this earlier on another subreddit, but it ended up getting removed because of fighting in the comments. I'll sum it up what happened thus far. I met my wife 7 years ago. She was extremely picky when it came to sex. She told me she has only been with one other guy before. She would never give a blowjob, only do certain positions, and found almost every sex act as degrading. I was frustrated by this, but I really liked her, and I hoped over the years she would open up sexually. Over the years, it never got any better, but I learned to get over it. I ended up finding an old video of her from her college days of her engaging in group sex with 6 people, 5 guys and 1 girl. In the video, she has anal sex, oral sex, gets double teamed, and yells multiple times in the video, I am a filthy whore. All of it she was enthusiastic about. I ended up feeling really sad. I can understand certain stuff people don't want to do, but it wasn't the fact that she didn't want to do them. She didn't want to do them with me, but with every other guy, she was their whore. His husband, so he's the husband, but he's their whore. I was angry, hurt, and I ended up saying some stupid shit to my wife. I asked her if she could drop our daughter off at her sister's because I wanted to talk to her. She asked why, and I told her we'd discuss it after she came back. I don't remember all the details of the conversation, so I'll sum it up to my best of my memory. I was drinking a bit before she came over, which wasn't the best idea. Okay, this is what he said. Me, is there anything about your past that you've been hiding? Her, why are we talking about this? Me, I just want to know where you were in any type of porn or anything like that. Her, are you taking drugs? Me, I found your video from college with the other guys. I don't know who you are anymore, and I feel ill around you. She starts crying. Me, do you have anything to say? She continues to cry. This was pointless. I grab my keys to leave, and she tries to stop me. Me, if you don't want me to leave, then I need you to be 100% honest with me and tell me why you lied to me for all these years. Her, I didn't want you to think I was a slut. Me, I would have been perfectly fine if you told me. I would have loved to have done those wild things with you. Look, I get it. I don't turn you on like those other guys do. You like sucking their dicks, but not mine. Her, it's not that. I didn't want you to think less of me. Me, no, it's exactly that. There's a thing lying about sleeping with other guys. It's not that you didn't like doing those things. You didn't like doing them with me. Her, I can do that stuff with you. I'm attracted to you. You know that. Me, I don't want you to do it because you feel like you have to. I want someone that actually desires me. Her, I can change. I promise I don't ruin our marriage over this. We can work things out. We can go to marriage counseling. Seriously, talk to me. Me, marriage counseling won't change how you feel about me. Look, I will try marriage counseling, but I want a trial separation for now. Her, please don't do this. Don't throw away our marriage for what I did in college. Me, stop fucking acting like it's one-time thing. Be honest with me. How many guys did you fuck before me? How many guys' dicks have you sucked? How many guys have you fucked? You let fuck in your ass? Why does it matter? I said I'll do them with you. Me, I am so fucking lucky. I got married to a whore that fucks like a prude. Her, please don't waste all of our marriage on this. I'm willing to change. Me, I'm not divorcing you, but I want a trial separation, and now I see how things go right, or see how things go. Right now, I feel sick of looking at you. I ended up leaving. My wife kept trying to. I ended up leaving. My wife kept trying to stop me. She kept on begging, saying she would do anything I wanted with her. It was truly pathetic, and I lost all respect for my wife. The way she was trying to manipulate me with sex. I'm staying in a motel right now. I have been getting constant calls from my wife. She has been asking me where I am. If I tell her, then she is going to confront me, and I don't feel like I am ready for that right now. I feel fucking drained. I feel bad for all those things I said to my wife, but I don't know what else to do. I am so fucking hurt over this. All right, so I'll just keep going with this. He goes into some other details here, but the point of this is, in fact, I'll just read what I wrote about it here at the end here. The author of this Reddit thread is feeling the sharp end of the hypergamic equation. While I'm sure there will be every effort made to paint this man's wife as some fucked up emotionally damaged and conveniently sexually abused victim, we don't know this, but that's the default association in comments of the original thread. The operative I'm driving at here isn't about her individualized experiences, but the methodology she and all women use to justify their sexual pluralism, which is exactly what's going on right now in the Twitter threads with this poor girl who is feeling jilted because she was honest with the boyfriend who she clearly wanted to marry. Prior to the advent of technologies that could evidentially prove women's sexual exploits, like OnlyFans, like Instagram, like amateur porn. Remember, this was a VHS tape that she had.
Oh my! So this is
this is like prior. This is
90s.
pre OnlyFans. This is pre, and it's not 90s, but it's like I mean, maybe the porn was shot in the 90s, but it was a tape. He even said, he mentions it by name. It was a tape, right? And remember, he'd been married to her for 7 years, and I would presume that she was in college before they got married, right? So yeah, it might be right. It might be the late 90s.
Because I mean, DVDs started kicking in early 2000s. So
right. So it was a tape, but it was a tape she was hanging on to for a reason. Yeah. There's a reason the guy found it or came across it. So there's a reason why women are like, why did she kept it? Why would she not destroy it?
Yeah, exactly. She kept it for a reason.
Why would it not be destroyed, right? Okay, so prior to the advent of technologies that could evidentially prove women's sexual exploits, often proudly so now, the more visceral aspect of a woman's sexuality and the inconvenient hindbrain hormonal prompts that motivate them could be kept secret well enough to deceive a man with provisioning potential to commit to a long-term security, the other half of her hypergamy demands. Remember, beta bucks, provisioning, protection, and parental investment. Okay? As the technology to record this becomes more ubiquitous, more permanent and fluid in its use, as men become more interconnected by it, and as women enjoy more self-affirmations from it, rationalizing her past indiscretions becomes more of an imperative. This is why women don't like to reveal their body count. This is why women don't like to discuss their sexual pasts, because they understand, like when Myron and Fresh, or when I hear like Brian Atlas from whatever podcast talk about like, body count shouldn't matter, right? Okay, so then what's your body count? And then what happens is women just like clam up, like they're like, well, what do you? That's an inappropriate question.
That shouldn't matter.
Why? You just said it shouldn't matter. It does matter, and you know why it matters? Because of exactly this story. Because they don't want their digital footprint. They don't want to have to admit it. They want you to have to go and figure it out and find out. It shouldn't matter. Should it? Well, the reason why we push for this idea that body count shouldn't matter for women is because well, first of all, they know that it does matter, but they know that it's inescapable. So if somebody wanted to find out, and you, like if you're on Instagram or you're on like OnlyFans or whatever, you're going to find out. There's going to be some digital evidence of this. So if it's inescapable, the only other way of sort of circumventing that is by making it inappropriate, is by saying it's unimportant. It shouldn't matter what a woman's body count is. So if we can convince the broader portion of the population that it shouldn't matter, then guess what? We don't have to worry about it anymore. We don't even have to have the conversation anymore, because it doesn't matter. We got to convince enough people that it doesn't matter, that whatever their body count is, or the fact that this chick is in like basically doing an orgy, and remember, this is in the 90s too. So men saturated and conditioned over the better part of half of a lifetime by the feminine imperative to be convenient cuckolds to women's hypergamy, men like the author of this confession have an ego-invested interest in presuming the woman they pair with will be giving him the best of herself, quote unquote, by the way, once his ship comes in and all of this, his patience and equalist beliefs finally pay off. That's how I got the title of this, by the way. Only men like this discover too late, usually well after they realize their commitment has hamstrung their own sexual market value and peak potential, that not only have they been retroactively cuckolded, sometimes even moralistically proud to be so, but they've been socially conditioned to be won by their mothers, their emasculated fathers, their sisters, their female friends, their teachers, the whole of the feminine imperative, and their efforts for most of their entire lives. One of the reasons, and I am most of the manosphere receive so much scorn from plugged-in feminine primary society is that we risk to expose this process. The author's story is an inconvenient truth for the pluralistic feminine sexual strategy. Women's capacity to cash out of the sexual marketplace, to raise children, to create a semblance of a family life, so conflicted with her single life on what she thinks should be her terms, all rides on keeping men with a long-term provisioning potential ignorant of their pre-cuckolding and their conditions that took so long to convince them that they would be their responsibility. All right, I'll stop there before I keep blinding you with bigger words. So the idea is this, is when you have a guy who doesn't fuck, when you have a guy who's in the blue side of the dual mating strategy, that guy firmly out. The reason why she thinks this is a compliment is because she needs him to believe he's doing the right fucking thing. Oh, you're not like other guys, not like the other guys who I spread my legs for nothing, for friends with benefits, hookup culture, hooking up with those guys who didn't have to jump through the hoops that you had to jump through, who never had to jump through the hoops you will have to jump through if you want to have kids with me and you want to have a family and a life with me and fulfill my genetic lifetime plan. You're the lucky one. You get to do that. You're special. You should take this as a compliment. Fuck you. And you know why it's fuck you? Because you should be saving the best for your husband. So all these women who want to say, oh yeah, I don't believe in premarital sex, or I don't like what you're saying is, I'm saving myself for my husband. I'm saving my sex for my husband. I'm saving this. I'm saving anal sex, blowjobs, double monkey backflips. I'm saving all of these sexual acrobatics for the guy because I don't want to have it with just some random dude. I want to have it with you, but that's not what's happening. Because men who are playing by the rules, who you think should be complimented by this, those dudes, they don't think it's a compliment anymore. First of all, because of asshats like me making them aware of it. But the other part of this is they're getting a raw deal. They're getting you gave yourself, ladies, you gave yourself freely to the guy who is the hookup, the guy who is the friends with benefits. He doesn't have to. You don't have to worry about whether or not the guy can shop at Bed Bath & Beyond. You don't have to worry about his 401k. You don't worry about trust fund, blue eyes, finance, all that other shit, right? He's getting laid no matter what. That dude doesn't have to jump through the hoops that this guy's going to have to jump through. But you think that should be a compliment to him, that he gets some sort of watered down sexuality that the other guy who was who was a fuck boy, the guy who did fuck, didn't have to do to get to where he is. It's not a compliment. It's a fucking extortion is what it is. Because that guy, if he's not aware, if he's not, educated and he's not red pill aware, that guy thinks he's getting your sexual best. That's the whole thing. That's why I titled the essay Saving the Best. I might have fucked some other guys, but the guy that I want to marry, he's got to be the best fucking sexual experience I've ever had in my life. And you know what? That guy's probably thinking the same thing. I want to get with a woman who I am sexually compatible with, and that I want to have the best fucking sex of my life with all the time, as much as I possibly can. Why would that not be your husband? And it goes back, and I'll finish with this. It goes back to the conversations I would have, or I would listen over here, eavesdrop on with my poor girls back in the day in my liquor days, right? When they would say, would you ever fuck a guy on the first date? And they go, of course I have, blah, blah, blah. But not if he was boyfriend material. And guys hear that and they go, what the fuck are you talking about? Why would you give it up to the fuck boy, like as if it's nothing? But the guy who's boyfriend material, why wouldn't he be the one that you would want to instantly fuck and not have to make him jump through hoops because you have some magical ability to vet him. I don't know how, but you have some magical ability to figure out whether this guy is boyfriend material, future husband material. Why would you not be jumping on his cock the minute you saw him and made that determination? Because he's boring. Perfect is boring. This guy right here, the blue side, the men who would make a good husband, boring. Not as fun as Tinder swindler, not as fun as fuckboy, not as fun as friends with benefits, not as fun as, not as exciting, not as thrill ride, not a fucking roller coaster like the guy who is the hot guy in the foam cannon party. Not that one. And it's so like, and women laugh because it's cognitive dissonance. Like, I don't know. No, you know exactly, but you also understand that the incongruency of that. They understand the cognitive dissonance in that. And the only way they can deal with it is by a giggle. That's all it is. And so when you have guys who think that because they play by the rules, because they're good dad material, because they're good providers, good protectors, parentally invested, want to have kids, meet all the other criteria, except for the fact that they're boring and they're maybe not as hot as those other guys, they think that you're going to give them their sexual best. They think you're going to get the anal sex. They think you're going to give them blowjobs every night. They think this. Because why else would you marry them? Why else would you want to spend the rest of your life with a guy who you don't want to fuck? Why would you do that? Why would, and you know what? More and more women, you want to know why the marriage rate's so low? Because the women are answering that for themselves right now. They're like, I want to fucking just do it myself. I'll take care of myself. I'll provide for my own long-term security. And guess what? So if I can provide provisioning, protection, and parental investment for myself, what's left? The alpha fucks bad boy, the guy that they want to share. They would rather share a successful alpha than be saddled with a dutiful beta. Where did that come from? That's actually Pook. From back in like back in 2005, 2006. That's been part of the red pill forever. Rollo, why are you so wrapped up in this dual mating strategy? Because it's been around, it's been fucking self-evident for at least the last 22, 23 years. And guess, you know how self-evident it is? It's so self-evident that this motherfucker bails out of the house and says, I got to go clear my head. That's how self-evident it is. This guy didn't go, seems to me like she's plotting ahead to do mate switching hypothesis on me or strategy or whatever. No. This only happens if dual mating is a fucking thing. Sorry, one more fucking nail in that coffin. So when I'm talking about saving the best, those guys, like ladies, the reason why this isn't a compliment is because that dude thinks he's going to get the same kind of fucking action that the guy who didn't have to do anything for it is going to get, because there's only one reason he would ever want to marry you, is because you're the best sexual experience he's ever had and he is the best sexual experience you've ever had. That's how guys think. The end. Let me get to these real quick, run these out. The most important thing is that you don't need to jump through hoops for her in a relationship, like chore play. Yeah, wash the dishes. Women make passes at guys who wash glasses. Your life will get so much easier. Bedroom fun will be just a side effect. Try to play with her and play with her. Yeah.
Fuck doing dishes.
Fuck doing dishes. Fuck those. Fuck them kids.
I don't do my laundry.
Fuck them kids. Fuck them dishes. Only Chads are the gatekeepers of commitment. Yeah, that's, you might, you know what? I would say you're probably accurate in that, dude. AZ, Rolosito. Okay, you have to roll your R's if you're going to do it that way. How was going out with Owen Cook approaching? I didn't go approaching with, I just hung out with Owen when I was in Los Angeles. The last time I saw Owen was in Los Angeles. I'll probably see him again. He might even be out for Babes in Toyland because he's starting to spend more time with us these days. I think he likes hanging out with me and Mike. I didn't see him approach. We just basically had dinner. But he's very. I have a different opinion of Owen. I have to say I have changed. I've kind of softened my opinion of him. I think he's actually a great guy, and somebody that can be learned from quite a bit. And I'm not just saying that because he's friends with Mike. I think that honestly, just sitting down and talking to him for like a couple hours, that really changed my mind about Owen Cook. And I'm happy to say it because I like the dude, and I think he likes me. The term you are looking for is female logic. Yes, and there is no female logic, right? All right, that'll be enough for today. Who is hitting me up now? Jake. Why is Jake here? Whoa. Jake, my drummer Jake just sent me this. He said, dude, some of the band members of Kiss are coming to this red carpet event at Centerfold. Why the fuck would Kiss go to Centerfold? Would they not go to like Hippo, or would they not go to fucking Rhino or Sapphire? I'll let you know if I park their car because he's valet at Centerfold. My drummer is a valet at a fucking strip club in Las Vegas. There's nothing more metal than that. Yeah. There's nothing more metal than that. All right, guys, that's enough for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I got to get out of here. I got to let Kylo Ren off the hook today because we got to get out of here early today. Hope you guys enjoyed the 3-hour pod class. Once again, if you guys are interested in doing the Reignite program, or if you want to just if you just want to be on the mailing list, just let me know for the next one. You don't necessarily have to go to this one to sign up for Reignite. So again, if you want to come out for this week, which is swim week, black tape, only in heels only. I forget what it is. It's basically naked chicks in just high heels. That's it. No, I won't be going to that. It's, by the way, they're only allowing. Why am I not going? I would love to go, but they're only allowing 10 dudes to go to that, and I ain't one of those 10. Mike's the MC, so he gets to go. But there's only, and it's bloody fucking expensive to go to this thing because most of these girls are black tape girls, which basically you just see them do, which you kind of can anyways in black tape. But so Black Tape Project is Wednesday and Friday. Then Babes in Toyland is of course Thursday. I will be going to Babes in Toyland, and I will give you one warning right now. I will be there with my wife. Yes, Mrs. T is coming with me to her first Babes in Toyland, and she's very excited. And a lot of the girls who are part of the show are very excited too that she's coming too, and so she will be there. Yes, we'll probably be doing some pictures, so just giving you a heads up ahead of time. So anyways. And then Friday is Black Tape, and then we're also doing the prelim Swimsuit USA swimsuit contest is coming up too. So those are the things that are this week, man. Oh, I should also mention this. I should have said this when Tristan was here, but since you've lasted all this way, Myron and Fresh will also be here.
Oh shit!
Yes, they're coming in Tuesday. Myron and Fresh are coming in Tuesday. If we can get a special show with them, like Mike and I are already. By the way, we need you to produce for that for sure. I figured you might. But we'll have Myron and Fresh from Fresh and Fit will be coming in this week on Swim Week. How crazy is that? Why would that be? So yeah, Myron and Fresh will be coming out. I think they probably have to do Power Slap because usually that's what they come out for. So they'll be doing Power Slap because Rumble owns Power Slap now. So that's coming out. Let me say it. Thank you, Carlos Garcia. You are a scholar and a gentleman. So, anyways, so yeah, this is the week to come. If you guys want to come out here and do this, and yeah, exactly. Wait, hold on, wait. I got this. I got to throw this one out there. Wait, I have a new sound drop. Where'd the sound drop go? Oh, here. That's a new sound. That's the Fresh sound drop. Right, people didn't catch that. Hold on. Okay, should I play that if I have them on? I know we'll probably have a show. It'll probably be us if we can get some other people on board. I think we won't be able to have a we won't be able to, can you guys hear that? You guys, they can hear my sound. Can they hear my sound drops? Okay. I'm thinking I'm gonna have to go direct to the board. Let me try something. Try real quick. See if I can go direct to the board. I've been like hitting all these like sound drops and it's not even going to. Oh, will it go to the board? Yeah. I don't know if I can, I don't know if it'll show up through the computer. Will it?
Or is it because it's taking the files from?
It might. Hold on. It has power. Huh. Oh well. I thought our sound drops were working.
Yeah, same here.
Did they work? Could you, oh, they couldn't hear it. Okay. All right. Well, we'll work it out. We'll work it out. We'll work it out before the next one. I know you guys use leagues as buffers. Do women have zones or leagues? Yeah, I think they do, but I think it's more about female hubris than anything else. If leagues are about hubris for women, I think leagues are different for men and for women. It's a gendered concept, quite honestly. You know what? I might actually. Would you like me to do one of the, I can hit that as a topic on my other shows this week. Maybe I'll do that. Okay. So anyway, yeah, sound drops are not connected. Okay, whatever. So anyways, but what is connected is the theme song. So why don't we get out? I hit the. You know which one's the outro. Yeah. Right? Okay. All right. All right, guys. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next week. And then also look for a show with Myron and Fresh, and then also look for the upcoming. I'm dropping three videos per week. See if I can do it Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We'll see. But I'm starting to do short form and just like topic specific stuff, so I don't get like lost in the weeds with super chats and everything else. So, all right, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you later. Bye.
I need to feel you on top of me. It was my first time, but I was just a kid when we met and went to bed. It was my first time. What you expect from me? I'm breaking up the rules, now I know the game. I've got some new tools, please do the same. Time came by when over like a matchbox stereo. Time to keep my thoughts, now let it go. Bound to keep me up all night. But maybe we can fuck again, and maybe things are different. Goddamn, baby, one more again. Won't you put it on me one more again? I need to know if maybe we can fuck again, and maybe things are different. Goddamn, baby, one more again. Now we're fucking in the bathroom, tearing up everywhere while I got your hair. Why you screaming my name? She was swinging in the bedroom, whole time stopping and stuffing with her head like she's calling you Kelly. So baby, run me, run me up and down like a pony. Turning up my song, getting messy. Working up and down on your body. Run me up and down like a pony. Turning up my song on your body. Baby, we'll get down to it all night. But maybe we can fuck again, and maybe things are different. Goddamn, baby, one more again. Won't you put it on me one more again? I need to know if maybe we can fuck again, and maybe things are different. Goddamn, baby, one more again.
Free City Podcast has been a production of the Rational Male. All rights reserved. 2024. Registered trademark. Live from Las Vegas, Nevada. Don't steal Kyle stuff.
We can fuck again, and maybe things are